What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the DaGamer Podcast. I am your host, Antonius DaGamer, back with my two co-hosts, Super SSS Rank, and we now have the return of Mikkel Smith, fresh off vacation, here for episode 13. Now, fellas, we picked some really good niche topics because there's always something new, including certain things that sprung a leak this past weekend, which we'll get to. But let's just kind of get the topic started off right. So actually, we can kind of get right into it because it's topic number one. Mortal Kombat NetherRealm Studios, they've officially dropped, two trailers. One officially revealing Nitara being voiced by Meagan Fox, and the Jean Claude Van Damme skin for Johnny Cage, including the reveal of Johnny Cage's second fatality, technically. At this point, we're less than 2 weeks away from the game that we've been talking about basically since we started the podcast. And, with the reveals of these two new trailers, plus what we're going to get into in a little bit, how are you guys feeling about the way they rolled out Nitara? Like, did you guys like it? Does Meagan Fox playing the character make sense to you guys? How dope was that Easter egg reference to Jennifer's body, if at all dope? Just tell me what you guys think.
It was cool. It was cool. It was cool for what it was. It's just like, yeah, I still have this weird vibe from her era all the way from like Transformers still. So it was okay. I was just hoping that, there was a much more in-depth type of trailer like how we usually got. I didn't really like the appeal of, hey guys, yes, I'm the actor behind Natara. And yeah, you showed us a couple of moves, but no. Like I still don't even know like what is her purpose in the story. Like yeah, they released a character bio, but then they said she comes from a realm. So it's like so how does she get an outworld if she comes from a different realm? And will we be able to explore that realm? Will they do some more integration of that type of factor? Um, the Jean Claude trailer that was pretty good. It was pretty
Mm-hmm.
dope. It was very nostalgic, I would say, and then of course the fatality, priceless.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
true Johnny Cage type of style.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man.
Ed
Overall,
Boon cried. Ed Boon cried in the car the first time he saw that finished skin, like a dream finally achieved. But go ahead. I mean, interrupt you.
yeah. I mean, yeah, man. So the game is almost out. There have been a couple of leaks here and there, but I'm just really looking forward to the final product at this point. Like I said, the reptile trailer just still lives in my head rent free.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, damn, like what more could you really do? Actually, no, no, no. I would say the reptile trailer and the Sindel General Shao trailer, like those two were very heavy hitters in my opinion.
That was the thing. Like, I guess would you say that those are the things that won you over in terms of the anticipation?
Yes, because especially seeing like General Shao's new design and just even more of like his backstory and what he plays, like it's just I was like I'm glad that we're finally getting to see more of like Shao and more of like he's still yes a big bad, but not. You could tell he's not the final boss this time around.
Mm-hmm.
You could just tell. But then, we got to see more of his story versus just, oh yeah, this is the dude who I know that I'm going to fight in the end.
Right. He's not the hulking big
hmm
bad that he's been for the entire franchise.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a good job with that when it came to Aftermath. Especially like, as you took over and you played him as a character. I do like, his new redesign, like especially with the more dragon elements,
Mm-hmm.
kind of hinting his connection to Onaga. I mean, you're basically painting the image right there that he's basically a descendant.
You're right.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
Jory, what about you? What are your thoughts about the Natara trailer? Again, John Claude Van Damme.
I'm gonna be real with you, man. I feel like they don't. I don't. They don't look like the actual people they're modeled after.
I
Like,
have you seen some of the high def images of Natara? That's Megan Fox. It's like a
yeah.
motion capture for sure.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, with some of the facial animations when they make a facial gesture, from certain angles, it don't really look like Megan Fox.
Well, because
That's just
it's
probably
not
just me.
Megan Fox. At the
Yeah.
same time, it's not literally Megan Fox.
Well, her likeness. Were they trying to overtly capture her likeness, or just like a little
No,
bit?
No.
no,
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 just a little bit.
Mm-mm.
no.
Yeah, like
Okay,
obviously there's features,
like
but it's
influenced.
yeah.
Okay,
It was
all
like when they
right.
did Ronda Rousey with Sonya. Like it didn't look like Ronda Rousey. It's
Okay,
she's still
got
playing
you.
a character.
Oh, but Jean Claude Van Damme, I don't know, man. He don't look as Jean Claude Van. He looked like I could tell, cause I remember where that costume's from, Bloodsport.
Hmm.
But for me, it doesn't really look like Van Damme all the way, like a replica, like Rambo does, or RoboCop, or Jean Claude, or Arnold Schwartz.
Let me ask
You
you
know what I'm
something
saying?
though. Do you feel that way because he's a skin and not a character? Because the thing that I thought too is like I do think it looks like him, right? But I think what kind of throws it off is that he's doing all the showboating that Johnny Cage does because he's a skin. He's not the actual character
No,
from Bloodsport.
no, because if you were from far away, you would look at the Rambo image and be like, "Yo, that's Rambo." It's undeniable. When you look at the Arnold, it's undeniable. When I look at Jean Claude, I'm like, I see it. I see it. So like what happened from it being undeniable, and you did this with three characters that doesn't belong in your properties normally. You
Hmm.
understand what I'm saying? So even Homelander looks a little off, but that's the dusk. I can't tell until they actually drop the official trailer.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it's night and day as far as how 11 was handled. As far as for me, the facial structure, the faces just look more defined. Here they kind of look blurry, but I gotta wait for the finished product.
Hmm.
Maybe they're just showing whatever. The graphics do look better, like we discussed when they dropped the trailer.
Hmm.
For some odd reason, maybe this is just polishing up. But overall, it's cool, man. I thought them having Jean Claude voice it. Jean Claude is known for kicking somebody always through a window, so I'm glad they caught on,
Hmm.
and I'm glad the opponent flew through the car window. I mean, like that's a finisher. You
Yeah.
don't have a movie without Jean Claude kicking you through a window. So I was like, yeah, that's fire. That's good.
Again, bro. I'm sure Ed
Um,
Boon was just like, it's happening.
I'm I'm curious as to why they went with Megan Fox, but I'm not mad with it. I think it's cool.
Hmm.
Um, I'm like, is she the only person to play a vampire role? So I'm like,
No, I
I
think
guess
she's
that
gone
that
on
was
record multiple times talking about how much she's loved Mortal Kombat. Like that's not the first
got you,
time for that trailer that she's
got you,
spoken about how much she's enjoyed that game. So I think maybe that got
got you,
back to
got
them,
you,
and they were like, "Hey, we like your stuff. Come on in." You know?
got you. Okay, all right then. Well, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I'm not mad. I'm happy for her. I'm, I mean, I'm glad people got what the fans the character the fans wanted. Her design, it's cool. I just think she's a fusion of she's a fusion of she kind of reminds me in a way of one of the characters from Killer Instinct, the new one, a little bit. As far as just like the Romanian-esque armor plating,
Mm.
like how they have that, and she I like the original design only because I just thought it was cool to have a dark. I just thought she looked cool, like pirate vampire. I never seen that before,
Hmm.
so I thought that was pretty cool. I was never a Nitara fan like that. Never like, oh my gosh, Nitara. She was just cool. Her story was interesting. Um, because I thought one of her endings, she wound up joining, being the bride of Onaga. So I thought that was kind of sick. And
Hmm.
like the vampires and dragons were joining forces. So I thought that was kind of cool. But other than that, man, it's standard. It's decent.
Okay. All right. I mean, for me, I feel like again, the John Claude Van Damme thing. I can kind of see what you're saying in terms of the likeness, but again, to me, it was more so just the personality that felt a little weird because he's a skin. It's not his character or him. Like it's not the character from Bloodsport. It's not actually John Claude Van Damme. It's a skin for Johnny Cage. So in terms of
Yeah.
what you come to expect, not that we know the man, but what you come to expect from his movie personalities, it's like he didn't really have a lot of those showboating over the top characters. So that was the only thing I was like, eh. But it did make me think about your comment or what we all ended up discussing, Jory, when it was like we should just have a celebrity movie fighter made by NetherRealm Studios with all the action stars at their peak, and just make it, Put him from Bloodsport, pick any Wesley Snipes era from like the '80s to the 2000s, and just make the games that you guys wanted to make. You clearly have the budget, like you could do it.
Yeah, y'all definitely could do it, man. I mean, I'll be down for that, man. What?
Yeah.
Passenger 57 versus man,
Yeah.
police story?
I'm trying to police. I'm trying to think. There was another character like action star that I thought. Even like Action Jackson,
Yeah,
Bronson. You know what I'm
definitely.
saying? Like just give
Yeah.
me all. Give me what ends up making the Expendables roster and just put them all in the game and have them kill each other. Let NetherRealm Studios take over Celebrity Deathmatch at this point. Like that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
right. That's crazy, right?
Um, but as far as Nitara, like I thought the trailer was fine. I think the thing that's always been weird to me about her character, and even with this unveiling, it's like it's weird because I would think that NetherRealm Studios of all developers would knock it out of the park when it comes to developing a vampire character. Like a game that shows so much blood and guts and things like that. You would think she would be one of the most vicious looking things you've ever seen in your life. And even with this, for what we saw from the trailer, like it's kind of tame. Like it looked fine from what we saw, but there wasn't anything like it wasn't like to Tim's point. It's like with Reptile, I was like, wow, I didn't imagine him playing like that. When it came to Baraka, like wow, I didn't imagine him playing like that. With what we've seen so far from Nitara, I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I wish they would have done a little bit more to showcase off her air combos because clearly that's was inspiration for them to include air combos in this game, a flying character like her. So maybe the trailer itself didn't do a good enough job presenting what they've done with the character, but I thought it was fine. I think the idea of having Megan Fox voice her is fine. I don't, a lot of people have their thoughts about her quality of acting. I don't think she's a bad actress. She's not necessarily going to be winning any Oscars in my mind, but that's okay, right? I don't think we need an Academy Award winning actor for a fighting game. I thought she was fine. I don't see anything wrong with it, and I think the Jennifer's Body reference was dope. Like I think the homage to that movie, which isn't a bad movie, not as nearly as bad as people made it out to be. I thought it was fine. I thought it was a pretty good. If we're gonna have a celebrity voice, I think this would have been the time for it. 2 weeks out. I'm sure there's a Megan Fox stan somewhere who's losing his or her mind, right? So I don't see any issue with it. With it being the last few trailers, I do wonder now that even before we go into like the leaking territory, it's like, all right, we know Raiko's in the game. We've seen enough footage and hints. Is he not getting a trailer? Is he, is he just kind of there, like just unceremoniously dumped out? Like what's happening as far as, the things that we now all kind of know, or like what is that launch trailer going to look like? Why haven't we gotten any more combat casts? We still don't know how Tanya plays, right? Like what are the things in these last 2 weeks that are going to kind of do that one final push for people to kind of pre-order the game or buy the game out the gate, if anything? That was what I was left thinking after watching these week's trailers. So like, okay, what else? With less than a week and a half left, what else are you guys doing to kind of just like, boom?
To be honest, bro, I think all we're getting is the launch trailer.
Mm,
That's all. I think that's all we're getting at this point because I feel like they've had so much momentum that it's like, well, we kind of just could really just coast right now.
okay. So you don't think there's going to be anything special revealed? Like, hey, here's that 24th character you guys have been whispering about for weeks.
Oh
Nothing like that.
no,
No.
no. I do feel like the 24th character, especially since like due to the leaks, it was removed so quickly.
Mm,
Like, yeah, like you just hear the speculations, but you have not seen the actual character slot face.
right.
Because as soon as people started uploading that, got capped
Yeah.
quick.
which
So it's kind
I respect it. I respect it. You know, like I'm glad that they managed to predict that was going to happen, and it wasn't just like boom, here's literally everything.
I did feel like they should have showcased Raiko when they did General Shao and Sindel because I was like, okay, because like the trailer before, so you had Reptile, you had Ashra, you had Havoc, so you had three characters and you had one cameo. But then when you came with this trailer, you had two characters and one cameo. Well, two characters and two cameos. So it was kind of like, well, bro, like we kind of out of Indinia Outworld character, so you kind of could have just showed old boy to
Yeah,
me because Raiko has always been like Shao Junior in most people's eyes. Like, yes, he has his own personality and stuff like that, but it's just with the revitalization of certain players' play style. Because for example, well, people was like, well, you gave Tanya a staff. So what does that mean for Jade lovers?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, man. Yeah, man.
that
Like, so
means
that threw me off, bro. That really threw me off. So, and then I've seen some things in terms of Raiko and his move set. So it's like,
yeah.
yeah,
Like what you
because
said in
originally,
the group chat, maybe the budget ran out with him.
yeah, because originally I thought he was gonna be like a dagger like character, but then I realized, oh well, we already have one, and that's Smoke. Smoke is a dagger like character. Yeah, he's more of like a ninja like. So I thought maybe Bryco would have been more like the brute like Kano, but it's like, I mean, I guess we'll have to see because I've only seen like a fatality video, so I could only go by that.
Okay. All right. I think we covered the trailer pretty well, and or both trailers pretty well. So, spoiler alert for anyone who is watching and or listening. I don't know the gauge of time, but just so you're not like, hey, y'all just got right. Da, 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 da. No, spoiler alert. We will be discussing the leaks that have started to sprout up from Mortal Kombat 1 reboot. If you don't want to be spoiled at all, fast forward, I'm going to say, let's just say 15 minutes ahead um, from our
I'm gonna have to
discussion.
bounce then, man.
Yeah, you don't want any spoilers?
I didn't know anything. I didn't even look at the chat. As soon as you guys
Oh,
started talking, I said, like, yeah, vanished. I vanished.
okay.
Well,
I want to
I
be
mean,
if I'm going if I'm gonna buy this Mortal Kombat game, I'd like to be surprised because I enjoy their storylines.
if you want to go there, I mean, we could just talk about how the gigabyte file. It's like
Okay.
140 gigs.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. Y'all have been saved by Jory. We will table this conversation until the official release out of respect. But Jory, you got one pod. I don't know if the game comes out on a Tuesday. You got till about Saturday because Tim and I gonna talk about it.
Oh my goodness, man.
So
Boy.
just a heads up. But yeah, we
I
can talk
mean,
about the game. Go ahead.
yeah, man, the gigs is like how much? 140?
140,
Yeah,
140.
140.
And
But
of what? Is this Call of
well,
Duty?
no. In the spirit of, I guess, spoiler light, apparently, the story mode is significantly longer than what we've gotten from X or 11 in the base game.
Boy, they
It's
better
not as
have mini
long
games
as
now.
the game. It's not as long as the base game and Aftermath put together, but it's somewhere in between. It's a very
Wow.
significant story mode. So I would
Yeah,
imagine that took up a lot of data size.
and I do feel like it's a lot of the fighting mechanics, especially with the number of. It's a lot more animations, especially due to the cameo system. Because I remember when I first got my PS5, I still had my PS4 version on Mortal Kombat 11, and they wanted me to upgrade. So I was like, all right, well, let me see what is the difference. But when I saw that gigabyte save with that file, I was like, bro, that's like 50 extra gigabytes just for the PS5 version. I was like, no,
Yeah.
no, I will stay with my four, and it plays just right.
Right, and like the loading times on the 11 PS4 version of my the loading times on MK11 on PS4 were not that bad. It's
Yeah,
okay. I
yeah,
could put 50 gigs towards
it's,
something else.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I felt. So I guess yeah, like I guess it does go into a lot of the animations, bro, which I kind of feel it's kind of like it's kind of the annoying part of this Mortal Kombat because from the for some of the fatalities that I have seen, I do kind of feel the fatalities have kind of been watered down. They're kind of going back to that more goofy arcade era phase.
Hmm.
Because I felt like, because personally, I felt MK11 had some great fatalities, bro.
But
Like
they
they would.
do you feel like they were great, right? I think they're some of my favorite. I think 9 and 11 are some of my favorite in the series in terms of games. But do you feel like maybe they felt subconscious because remember 11 was the one that had the controversy of even though it ended up not being true, there was a whole controversial discussion of like, oh, some of the NetherRealm employees had to get therapy and were violently throwing up after having to do research and render the fatalities for 11. Again, it was later proven to not be true, but you do still have that vocal minority that's like, this is way too violent. I don't need to be seeing what someone's detailed insides look like every time I play a video game. Do you guys think that maybe they were like aware of that? Like maybe this is getting a little bit too
I mean, it's called Mortal
explicit, for lack of a
Kombat.
better word?
It's Mortal
It's
Kombat.
it's called Mortal Kombat, bro. Like for example, you remember that show called on Spartacus on Stars, bro?
Yeah.
People say, babe, there's just a lot of sex, blood, and guts,
Hmm.
and that's what you sign up for every season. Orgies, blood, and sex.
Yeah. The orgy scenes were a little wild though. At that time, I was like, you.
I haven't seen a single episode
It's
of
good.
the
It's a good show.
Spartacus.
It's a
It's a
good
good show,
show.
bro.
Good
Yeah,
storyline, good characters, but yeah, like Tim said, they let you know, hey, this is in the show. In
yeah,
all the episodes, they all get naked here.
yeah,
like,
yeah,
um,
yeah. So,
so that I mean, there's that,
all
and there's also before you guys fully answer, there's also the Ed Boon has gone on record saying that he's aware of how hard it is for content creators to do Mortal Kombat stuff because anything you do, unless you go through extensive
Mm,
methods to
editing.
edit it, it gets demonetized immediately. So maybe that's also why they kind of played it down to make it easier, for content to be made for a lot of people who are Mortal Kombat fans because you don't want to be able to like they want to be able to stream it and upload it and do commentary on it without having to get their channels flagged.
Well, I mean, take a lesson from your book. Remember the ones that you did a couple of years ago, where it didn't get flagged when you were using Devora as the person.
Hmm.
I know they did say like it's because of the color of blood. Sometimes they get flagged. So I do feel like maybe adding like different filters in the actual in game, like oh change this to that, and
Hmm.
maybe that could actually work out for streamers' favors. But yeah, because to this day, bro, the ones that you made are
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I did get one flag on one of them, which was like an oversight on my part because it was the one I did with the women ninja, and Scarlet has an intro where she's drawing blood out to make her weapon, and they flagged it for that. They flagged it for that. They're like, this might have, and I'm like, it's the intro, yo. She didn't dismember anybody. She didn't stab nobody. It was just her pulling the blood out. It's like this video might contain graphic content. I was like, whatever,
mm,
whatever, you know. But yeah, I think that might be the best workaround. Like it might take a little bit more effort on NetherRealm's part, which is unfortunate. But they might have to, include filters, include like honestly like a safe for work fatality mode. Where it's like if you're streaming it, here's a mode you can stream it in to not worry about being demonetized because YouTube is not
stream
give
mode. Yeah,
yeah, YouTube is not gonna give you guys any workarounds. They're not, like they're not gonna make an exception just for y'all. So you're gonna have to do it on your end to help, I guess, like the people who want to support your game through streaming. I just don't think. I just wonder if that was part of the reason why it may
mm,
have dumbed
you
down
know what?
or
That
made it
makes a lot of
sillier.
sense.
You
That
know,
makes a lot of sense.
like there's a reason why you have Lee May doing like a TNT with someone's intestines. It's ha ha ha, like slapstick humor because we can't show someone being violently dismembered the way they did in 11, despite them being
Yeah,
again some of the best fatalities. So
that's just so crazy, man. I don't know.
yeah, I guess last topic on that before we move on, because the install base is so big. Do you guys feel like it warrants that size because again, NetherRealm continues to kind of trailblaze in story mode? Like, do you guys feel like that's something where it's going to kind of be the new norm if we want a story mode as robust as Mortal Kombat for fighting games?
Man, these guys love telling stories, man. So I mean, let them do it. They've been consistently, even at their worst games as far as gameplay, the stories were decent. The stories were complete stories.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting things happened. Things that you didn't expect to happen happened. Um, and I'm down for it, man. They haven't disappointed me yet. Just the order of things. I think 11 should have been 10,
Mm-hmm.
and 10 should have just probably never been, in a way, story wise.
Uh,
Um,
do you take the good with the bad, right? Like, we did get Takeda and Cassie and Jackie from 10 being conceptualized.
yeah, they were cool, but the Jackie came to shape more in 11 than she did in 10. That was
Mm-hmm.
that was like the design and everything. They
Mm-hmm.
put time into this character. They really wanted to sell me this character. So I was down for it.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have the typical haircut, cut to the side, give you dreads. She had a unique hairstyle to her. You feel me? So
And you could
finally,
customize her hairstyle. She had a couple of different,
and
really
yeah,
dope, true to form
you know,
black
and
hairstyles.
yeah, so yeah, man. So I think 11 was definitely fire, man. Story wise, I'm down for it. Man. Who would have thought we would have got Fire God Liu Kang?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was expecting that. And then the design for that character, just like voila. The scene where Raiden was fighting Liu Kang throughout the timelines, and they went to every timeline. That was cinema.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm down for it. Jax, the characters were amazing. That trailer, that Mortal Kombat 11 trailer was some of my favorite trailers. That's my favorite version of Johnny Cage.
Mm.
Personally,
Mm-hmm.
it was so much Johnny Cage. I was like, man, had he had this charisma in 10, I probably would have forgave it. Even though he just felt like Nathan Drake to me. This one didn't feel like Nathan Drake. You know what I'm saying? Nathan
Mm-hmm.
Drake in Mortal Kombat. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this one felt like, oh man, he was just amped up to be the Johnny Cage that we all expected him to be.
Mm-hmm.
So man, I was all for it. Yeah, man, give a story, man. I'm down. That's why people are buying your game. To be honest with you, Mortal Kombat players come for two things: story, gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Got us both.
Mm-hmm.
Those trailers reveals, man. So if this DLC pack coming out, just get that out the way.
Mm-hmm.
After that, oh boy, it's on. I'm waiting to see what's gonna be next, man.
Especially to piggyback off like what WB has done in terms of guest characters. Who I would love to see as a season 2 guest character?
Hmm.
The Shredder. They kind of piggyback off like what Injustice 2 did with the Ninja Turtles. Because I was like, yeah, why didn't they put Shredder in? But then you know what I realized, bro? Especially after seeing that Baraka trailer? Yeah, put Shredder in this game.
Well,
Mm.
my the only question that comes to mind with that is, how both 10 and 11 have had like a guest character theme, right? So like 10 was
Hmm.
horror, 11 was action, 80s action hero essentially. You
Hmm.
guys don't feel like maybe this is potentially their Injustice Light DLC pack, since it's Homelander, Omni Man, and Peacemaker, that they're going to do more of a superhero, live action
I
superhero
think
theme?
Mm.
I think maybe it's more of the crossover properties. because like yes, when you look at Invincible, it's part of WB, correct?
No, it's owned by
Prime,
Amazon.
Amazon,
No, yeah,
100%.
I know Prime makes it, but I meant like the comic because I know it's based off a comic.
Um,
Is it a
no, Image,
subsidiary? Is a subsidiary to WB
no,
or anything?
Mm-mm.
not at all.
Well, all right, well,
Image Comics,
okay, and then Homelander, The Boys is
Amazon as
well,
well.
yeah,
independent.
yeah. Well, I guess maybe the theme is more of like superhero elements, I would say, because yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you have Peacemaker, which is a WB product.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And then you have you have Omni Man, you have Homelander. But I do feel like, especially, I feel like Shredder. I feel like Shredder would make sense.
I
I
mean, it does.
personally,
I think they would do it just fine. I just, I just thought about that because that's just how it's been for the past two games. A lot of their guest characters follow a theme, so the
yeah,
Shredder doesn't really
yeah,
fit what looks to be the theme in this game.
yeah. Because even for MK9, yeah, they had Kratos and they had Freddy Krueger.
Yeah,
So you had one person that didn't really belong, but he was just a brutal person because of the hype of God of War 3 around the time. And then the other person, that's where they started to like dip into the horror aspects. And then like how you said, for 10 had horror, but then also sci-fi horror,
yeah.
because remember that's where Predator and Alien came in. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what this really brings. I mean, you've already given us three good like guest characters out the gate.
Hmm.
Like I was like, wow. Like, so let's just see what that brings. Even in terms of what 11 did, Terminator was okay. Rambo, I didn't really care for. I felt the best person, like he was very technical, but I felt like the best characters that they gave us was Spawn and Joker. Like to this day, bro, that is the best brutal Joker I've seen, bro.
It's true.
Like
I felt like Spawn was probably my favorite, my personal favorite out of all the guest characters. But it's true that I don't think well, again, it's what third time's the charm with Joker at this point. So it's or fourth time really, technically if you count
mm,
Mortal Kombat versus DC. I would hope they would have perfected him by now, but it was like that's about as Joker as you can get, honestly.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I remember when they first showed the Joker in the combat patch, like I was like, oh, why they gave Joker a cane? But when I saw that cane gameplay, I was like, okay,
Oh,
never mind.
that's where the Red Hood got that brain damage from. Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and walk that
Oh
back.
man, that's crazy. And had it been a crowbar, that'd have been even crazy.
Well,
Yeah, they put it in his X-ray.
But the Injustice 2 Joker had the crowbar.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and they pushed it as much as they possibly could with that. You hear
Oh
the
man.
bong bong like metal off bone,
Wow.
bro. That's not
Wow.
that ain't muscle
My
tissue it's connected with.
goodness. My goodness. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
their sound mixing department went crazy that game.
man,
yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah. And then they have been like season 2 leaks
For
already.
real?
And then
How?
yeah, well then two well it's two DC characters. People have been speculating Harley Quinn and Deathstroke.
Mm,
Man, they pushing this Harley Quinn after she killed Nightwing.
after she killed Nightwing?
Yeah, on her show she killed Nightwing. She choked him out. Incredible. Yeah.
Oh, you mean on the animated show, which is
Yeah,
Bro,
yeah.
pretty awesome, by the way, and a
I
very
haven't watched season
chaotic.
3 yet, but season
It
1 and 2 I liked a lot.
Yeah,
So
in a very chaotic way. It's very good, bro.
her
So
killing Night. What? You know what? We're an anime and gaming podcast. Never mind.
Yeah, yeah. Let's leave the chaos
Yeah,
alone, right?
never
All
mind.
right.
Don't we don't even have to talk about it because
How? 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 But
yeah,
okay. Writers. Anyway.
right.
Um
Or even the Injustice movie, or Injustice concept in general. Damien gets mad, throws a stick. Dick trips and breaks his neck. Dick, the acrobat, loses balance and snaps his neck.
yep.
Anyway, before we leave Mortal Kombat entirely, is there any since we're talking about DLC, is there any of the classic roster that didn't make it to this base roster that you guys would feel comfortable being resold to us? Like we talked about it yesterday, Tim, in the group chat about how essentially we're technically being forced to pay for Shang Tsung. Technically, I mean, I know it's a pre-order bonus, but you're required to buy the game ahead of time in order to get Shang Tsung as a playable character. And then,
Is he there? No other means of getting Shang Tsung?
nope.
No.
So you got the pre-order
Oh,
for Shang Tsung,
and then
Quan Chi's
and then
DLC.
and mind you, Shang Tsung was DLC in 11.
Yeah.
So basically, you're paying for him twice.
The
The same thing
only
with the.
the only grace I'll give 11 is that he wasn't part of the main story. That's the only thing I'm like, okay. And he's technically included in the Aftermath season pack. So if you buy the Aftermath season pack, you get him like out the gate. That's the only. It's like that fine line of like we're still gonna charge you, but you get a little something for your dollar. You know, as opposed to this
Okay.
time, it's like if you don't pre-order, hey man, when we launch Mortal Kombat One reboot expansion, you can go ahead and pay for that DLC because that's what it is, DLC.
Uh,
Yeah.
hit
Is
me with the
there,
classic. Don't make me laugh.
yeah, is there any could they sell us Jade? Like, would you guys be willing to buy Jade? Would you guys be willing to buy? I don't know. Give me somebody.
Two staff users? Three staff users, maybe? I don't know, man. What is she gonna play like, man? Is she gonna play? Is she gonna turn into Cabal slash Cobra with the batons? A little bit of Nightwing. They turn her into
Maybe,
Nightwing.
maybe
Okay, okay.
the detachable staff. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
possibility.
Oh, okay. Um,
And she technically has a dagger similar to Smoke, so there is some mix up
okay.
there. It's not like she's just bow staff, essentially.
Got you. Got you.
Well,
Got
she
you.
actually has a shuriken, like a ninja
Oh,
shuriken,
yeah, yeah.
like
So,
a demon windblade type of shuriken type of feel.
Oh, okay. Okay. Um, I don't. I mean, I don't know. Who am I? Who was I a little bit heartbroken that wasn't in the main roster? Um,
I mean, to be honest, I'm okay with Sonya and Jack sitting this one out. So
you just,
I don't really like to buy them as DLC. Nah, nah,
really.
yeah.
Because we know, like we obviously like they're leaning heavily into the 3D era, as everyone has reiterated multiple times. So even if let's just say, for example, Darius, right? They decided to not make him just a cameo. He's also a DLC character. Is
he's in
that
the
something you
trailer.
guys? But that's what I'm saying. Like, is there
Yeah.
any characters that you're like, you know what? They brought them back. I'll pay.
If if they redo Darius right, if he don't look like how because Darius just like who is this guy? He took Baraka's spot technically. He got these arm blades. So if they do Darius right, they reimagine him. I think we'll be okay with it. I'm looking forward to I Hotaru. I would like to see them do Hotaru, man.
Okay.
But if it goes the way it goes, henchman number two, um hinted,
Yeah.
it won't have the effect that it should have, so it's like it'll be almost moot.
Okay.
Yeah, so Hotaru would be cool. I just want to see what they do with him. And I don't know any other Mortal Kombat characters that would probably, Nightwing, not Nightwing, Nightwolf, maybe the first version of Nightwolf, the
They already
female
sold
version.
them.
So,
Sold us a version of Nightwolf last game, technically.
well, I ain't buy it, so I'm not gonna feel the effects of that. So,
And it would be. I mean, granted, it wouldn't be the first time they've done it. Rain is a perfect example. We had to buy Rain in 9 and buy Rain in 11, so it's not. It's not off the board. It's possible.
yeah, man, man, I ain't gonna lie, WB needs to hold back on the Ermac and give us the Ermac that we needed in 10, and then I mean 11,
He
please,
might be.
please.
He might be. He might be.
Hope so, man.
Because if
Hope
Shang
so.
Tsung, if this is Shang Tsung's rise to power story, it can't be. It's not a one for one Ermac. It has to be a different type of Ermac by default.
Got you, got you, got
Because
you,
he
got you.
wouldn't have been able to create him in the first place because he doesn't have powers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Um,
it, man.
yeah, because honestly, bro, I'm all out of the cyborgs. I don't want to see the cyborgs return.
Mm.
Like especially how they handled Frost when she became a cyborg. So it's like, wow, she has got this. She got a real cool cyborg design, but we're still getting this plated version of Cyrax and Sector.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, there are cameos now. And then, the Lin Kuei has a much deeper story now. But that's what I was saying. Like, it's like, wow, bro, I would love to see the MK9 versions of them return.
Mm-hmm.
But then you could tell, like, they also, especially since this game is very heavy on elements, you don't want a lot of redundancy. It's like, yeah, Sector was like flamethrowers and
Mm-hmm.
missiles. But then, I did like about Cyrax, he had those like laser traps and
Yeah.
then bombs and stuff like that. So I do feel with some revisions, there's a way to work around them, but it's like, bro, selling it to us again. So that's why, like, even for this Combat Pack 2 out of us, like, I don't even know who could they sell us.
Yeah.
Who could they
That's
sell us?
true.
Like,
That's
I mean,
true.
because I do not want to see Goro sold to us again. I
It
don't want
might
to
be
see.
Kintaro.
I don't want to see Shiva.
No, they
Oh,
wouldn't sell
at
us Shiba
all.
again. Yeah. Maybe Kintaro. We haven't seen Kintaro playable since what, Armageddon? Because he was
I
he
think they
was
don't know how to utilize these guys, man. It's like for me, I can think of 101 ways that'll make them interesting to play versus them being just tanks.
right, or carbon copies
You
of each
know?
other. Like there's
Yeah.
really no reason why Goro and Kintaro should play similar at all. They could play completely different and have completely different styles of based off their designs alone.
Yeah, bro. Like I said, they did pretty good with this roster. And then, there was just certain characters from the 3D era that were just hit and miss, and then most of them were miss.
Mm.
Like some of those characters, it's kind of like, why are you even here? And
Movado,
then,
Drummond.
and then now, like, especially since this game doesn't have, it only has certain amount of factions. Like, especially like on the Earthrealm side, the only real Earthrealm faction that we have is the Lingui. So, like, yeah, like there's no red dragon, there's no black dragon. So it's kind of like, well, okay, well, you just cut out a bunch of characters from there.
Mm.
And then, you just have like Outworld, Adenia. And then, of course, from images, Quan Chi is in there. So, the Brotherhood of Shadow is making its return. So that's NetherRealm side. So yeah, it's just like, yeah, bro. There's just a lot of factions that just kind of got pulled away, and we still don't know how things are gonna look on the Elder God side. Like we saw a few leaks,
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah,
what about that? You think they could introduce like some of the silhouette elder gods that we saw in 11 and make them playable characters?
They gotta be
uh,
fired. They do.
They could be. They could be.
They could be, man.
They've
But
shown that
they
they can
gotta be
finally get
fired.
a god right. I mean, look at Liu Kang. Liu Kang looks amazing in this game. So it's
And
it's not
he's the
impossible.
only one.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one. And him and Fujin, but the other ones, Chronicles Primordial Children.
I mean, we'll see, bro. We'll
Shinnok.
definitely, we'll definitely see.
I
I'm
only
trying.
one of my things, I'm story wise, I'm hoping they don't turn what's his name? Centurion's henchman again? Garrus into Cyborg.
Garrus.
Boy,
I don't think
Garrus.
so. I
When
don't
I
think
say
so.
into Cyborg, I mean story wise how Cyborg always get dogged. He get hacked by Darkseid. He get
Oh,
he get what a man. This
he's
whole
a, he's a
list, he
plot
transformed
device.
into the
Yep.
grid. Boy,
Mm-hmm.
yo, he had no respect in the Injustice games. I'm like, I'm seeing that. If you look in the cutscene, who was gnawing in on Nitara was biting guards. If you see the
But
trailer, you pay attention. You
yeah,
feel me? So it's like,
yeah. But then there's also like I don't think they. I think again, obviously they shown that they listen, and I think Garrus was the punching bag in 11. Like his whole gimmick was he just can't be killed. So it's just like
Yeah.
he gets beat up, he gets decapitated, he gets split in half, and just pulls himself. He doesn't
straight
do
Zetsu,
anything. Like he just
straight
just
Zetsu,
yeah, pretty much.
straight
So
Zetsu.
I'm sure they're gonna try
Okay.
to remedy that this game. I would think. So
We thought a lot of things too, man. So far, we've been pretty
pretty spot
satisfied.
on. Hmm.
Yeah. Um, but I just want a little hint. How do you guys feel about the spoilers?
Overall,
Yeah. Positive
I
review. Give me a
I'll
yes or no,
say
thumbs up,
I'll
thumbs
say that
down,
I
Roman
like
style.
more than I don't like. Personally, it it won't cancel my pre-order for the game. Um, it's without spoiling too much. I think it doesn't necessarily put me at peace for whatever's coming next after this game.
So you worried?
A little bit, a little bit. There's a couple of choices that get made that I'm like, I don't know if this was the best way to go about a reboot in
Okay.
terms of story. But I ultimately, from what I was seeing and reading, I liked more than I didn't like. I think
Okay. So
a majority of it is
okay.
it's great, to be honest.
So I can't. So I should not expect Mr. Smith to come out of 16 doors to fight Neo and Morpheus, right?
Eh. Tim, you
Ah,
want to tell him or should I?
nah, nah, okay, okay, guys, I'm done, bro. Hey, all right, forget I asked, man. Oh
You
my,
want to break the news, Tim, or should I?
oh
I
my
mean,
gosh,
I
no,
mean,
oh my god, I don't even want to know. Oh my gosh, please. I was playing. I threw it out there, dog. I just threw it out there, man. I was
they
playing.
they threw some things out there too. That's
Oh,
all
I
I'll
was
say.
playing, man. Oh my god.
I mean, I think, especially how Jory is like a loyalist to the 3D era. I do feel like there'll be certain choices that he doesn't like.
Care for. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a soft way to put it. I feel like he wouldn't really care for it, but at the end of the day, what can you do?
Yeah, yeah.
What can you do?
I think I will say that I
But
think the
I will, but I, but I
but
will say, at one part, Jory kind of got his wish.
yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. That's what I
Okay,
said. I
okay.
think most of it was good. I think again, it
70,
did.
70% or 80%?
Tim, what would you say? I'm saying I think 80 from
Okay,
what I've seen so
okay,
far.
I say
okay.
70. I say 75.
Yeah.
That's not bad. That's not bad. As long as it's not
Okay.
60.
No. I
Okay,
think
good,
the
good,
reason
good.
why I say 80 is because I think the characters that were long overdue from the original roster finally got fleshed out back. They got the Jade treatment in 11. I'll leave it at that. Where Jade finally got some
Okay,
backstory and was had a separate
good backstory.
great backstory. I think
It's just her
for
man.
her choice of men was a little bit sus, but other than that, just the fact that she had a life separate from being Katana's bestie was great, and I think this game did a good job with characters who are long overdue. I've seen people sing the praises of how they do Baraka's character, so take from that what you will.
Yeah, because apparently he was a soldier from out of Outworld before he caught the disease. So he was a military man who felt like he was
Mm.
just discarded. And yeah, Melina has a lot more detail to her as a princess before she gone all feral. So I really do like that. So yeah, man, they've made some good, interesting, like even just the revitalization of Lee May, bro. People are now starting to like the new concept ish of Tanya. They have been some hints about Rain's true lineage.
Okay, I don't think I saw that.
Well, there was a one speculation about that he's actually the half brother of Kitana and Melina.
Ooh,
So
from
he's technically royalty, but
Jared's side,
is an outside child.
from Jared's
That's a
side.
good story. That's room for good story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially in Mortal Kombat, boy.
Yeah.
because you remember even in the original time, like that was always Rain's thing. Oh, I'm the son of Argus, and remember his brothers was the two
Tavon and
Tavon,
Dagon.
but then he always felt like he was pushed to the side, like, look at me and my powers. Oh no, here come my brothers, causing
You
me a.
know,
The chosen ones.
those characters, those characters weren't bad. They just weren't designed good.
They were boring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They were
they were
boring.
born, but like as they were born as far as how they played, but like their story was very interesting. It was
Yeah.
actually wild. That's
It's a
like a
good
dope
concept.
story. Yeah,
It's a great
yeah,
concept.
yeah. They just
Yeah,
weren't designed well, man.
yeah. So I mean, that's the speculation, and it adds more to why he's so treacherous of trying to dethrone the royal family and continue to rise through the ranks.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically evil Jon Snow.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah, I still say 80. I mean, maybe Tim saw something that I didn't see that might detract a couple points. But from what
Okay.
I've seen so far, I'd say 80. I think,
The only
Okay.
the only thing that I am fearful now, because this has been confirmed, is like there's a lot of NPCs. So that kind of makes me fearful of the future.
uh,
NPCs.
Non-playable characters.
but that's
Ah,
not new.
okay.
They've been doing that since 10.
Yeah, but then the fact that they're increasing it, bro.
Hmm.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's my only thing that I am kind of just a little bit concerned about because it kind of just giving them the excuse. Well, we don't really have to put the character in the game.
Right. It's
Like,
it's it's
yeah,
technically the Cyrax and Sector treatment where they've kind of been a non-factor for about 3 games now. Like they haven't been playable technically since 9. All right, sorry for the impromptu short break, listeners, but we are going to move on to our next topic. Obviously, we'll have a lot much more to really deep dive into when it comes to Mortal Kombat 1 Reboot once the game is officially released. But yeah, these are our thoughts for now. Again, still looking forward to the high res, high definition version of some of the things that I've seen and read. And yeah, we'll be revisiting soon. So to move on to another long running franchise that is already once again back in the hotbed of controversy as it is every year. NBA 2K24 launched this past weekend. People are already showcasing bugs, glitches, and the lovely, lovely, lovely VLC pass, where once you've bought the game, you then continue to buy the game. Because if you don't, your creative player, you will be playing for the next 80 hours straight to get them to actually make a layup properly. That's how much they paywalled the skill and customization points for your creative player, which they conveniently made the main mode of like the last 3 2Ks. So the reason why I put that on the board is because fellas, we're all from the same generation. I remember a time, let's just say PS2 era, right? GameCube era, Xbox era. You could play your 2Ks. You could play NBA Live. You could play Madden. You could play NFL Blitz. You could play NBA Street, NFL Street, NHL, FIFA, MLB. And I feel like we're getting to a point where, one, I mean, I guess RIP, the Street franchise. We haven't seen an NBA Street, NFL Street, FIFA Street game in at least 10 years.
Which is weird, right?
It's
you
it's
know,
very strange.
because you know
That
what? You know the reason why we had those games, bro? That was the An 1 era. Have y'all seen the An 1, the Fall of An 1 documentary on Netflix, bro?
I did.
Bro, that
Heartbreaking.
heartbreaking. Bro, when they started to go into the merchandise history, the games, I was like, wow, bro. Like
Street
I
hoops.
was,
Remember that?
bro, bro. That's why we haven't seen another street game since, bro. That's why.
Yeah.
Especially
Damn,
when you
for
find
real,
out that the enemy, Nike, when they came into the picture, bro.
Uh huh.
man.
So for those who haven't seen or watched it, quick summary: there was an N1 documentary that broke down the street ball era of basketball, Long story less long. There was a point apparently because obviously we were younger and didn't know how corporate world worked, where And1 was surpassing Nike in sneaker sales, in merch sales, anything basketball related. And1 was running laps around them. To the point that Nike literally just started blatantly copying and pasting their designs and things like that to their brand. And it got to a point where, again, long story less long. I don't want to spoil too much,
Excuse
but
me.
obviously, And1 fell apart. The players got zero to no compensation. Most of them are just street legends, literally. And the people
There was
who,
only and there was only
but
one dude who went to the league. One. One.
another one's a
Marbury,
best.
right?
Marbury, no, Marbury was already in
Yeah.
the league.
No, he's. I think he started off and one. That's where he came
No,
from.
no,
And
no, no,
yeah.
no.
I gotta
No, he
look back.
got
I
no.
gotta look
Marbury
back.
got an and one deal. He was not an and one player. There was two or
Oh,
three players that they ended up doing partnerships with during their run.
okay.
It was him and someone else. But anyway, I think it was it Half Man Half Amazing that ended up getting drafted, Tim.
I would have to look back, bro. I would have to
Okay,
look back.
okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, the only people who made money off of that was the white man who funded all of it. I don't mean to make it. It's not. I don't mean to make it racy, but that's just what it was. The funders of it were the only ones that walked away with a profit. The faces of it, hot sauce, all of them, nothing. Street legends, literally. But yeah, Tim, you're right. It definitely stemmed from the N1 era, at least basketball wise, and then kind of spilled over. There was a time where NFL Blitz was losing popularity, and NFL Street 1 and 2 kind of took its place and were really, really fun games. You're playing, street football, catching footballs off the walls, of course, the classic game breaker mechanics, things like that. And, again, you fast forward a couple of decades later, and here we are where you get a glitchy Madden every year, you get a glitchy NBA 2K every year. We haven't seen NBA Live in about 3 years. It's gotten to a weird place where there's really only two or three sports games that get made. They don't even make NCAA anymore. And coming from an
But
era when when Madden would drop, you'd be like, "Yo, have you heard that Madden soundtrack?" I still remember NBA Street Volume 2 soundtrack
Man,
to this day.
Madden 2001 was my favorite. The
Mine was
greatest Madden of all
2004,
time.
where Michael Vick was
2004.
basically a cheat
Okay.
code.
Yeah.
He could scramble, he could throw, he could play
Man
offense and
had
defense at the same
overall
time.
99 stats, man.
Greatest thing walking at that point. He carried the Falcons single handedly in 2004.
but
So
you
you
know
can
what
say,
I
Tim?
think it. You know what I think it is, man. I also think it's the fatigue of a New Year release. Like you would think, like, especially where we are now with games in terms of patches and rewrites. That yeah, I get it. Sports history changes a lot. With teams where people are constantly always shifted. But it's like, bro, like that pressure of always a new release every year, even though most of the time they already have the template because you're still basically still building off what you made from last
Yeah.
year. But it's just, I think it's that fatigue, man, that yearly release fatigue. Because, we've seen it with Call of Duty, we've seen it with other games, and, the quality just starts to diminish after a while.
But you guys, because, all right, so the thing that's always kind of, and then maybe it's just my like idealism, right? When it comes to some of these games that have to have yearly releases, of I'm not opposed to. I know people will say like, oh, this could be DLC, right? That's always the main complaint. Something could be DLC. I don't mind if a game has to come out every year. I don't mind, like you said, Tim, something being the template and just being improved upon. I don't need a revolutionary change every single year. It's a game that we're going to get yearly. Maybe this is the year I skip out on 2K24 and get 2K26 because that at that point that's 2 years of improvement. But the thing that always has thrown me off about these last couple of years is that it's not even that these games run solidly, right? And then maybe introduce a gimmick that doesn't work. Again, it's like clockwork. The game drops, and there's a bug that wasn't present in the game last year. The new refined shooting mechanics that they developed for this don't work properly. There's delay input. It's like these things that they should have ironed out, I would imagine, by now. are still issues. And I still feel like, especially when it comes to games like this, you have to have competition. If there is no NBA Live, if there is no other basketball shooting game to compete, it's like 2K. It's like you either get 2K or nothing. And however they release it is however you have to play it, or what else are you going to do? So that's the thing that like I also have an issue with. Is there something wrong with sports games just being more technically tighter every year? Does it have to be a brand new mechanic every year?
I don't think we need a Madden every year, to be honest with you. They messed themselves up with putting 2K and like numbers each year. Like we don't need a Madden every year. I understand a new every year's a new things happen in football because it's an organic sport. But like, why don't you just make
Every
that a complete package
every year is a
every
new
season?
every year is a new season of ballers.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean it's the truth. You can't have an outdated roster technically.
Yeah,
well, I mean, you can do a roster up until now, you know. I think you could package it in a way you could change the marketing scheme to where, okay, this is gonna cover this number of this number of seasons in this year and whatnot to have a more complete game, and then you can do your little updates on the side, and after that, release another. Because you have the ability to do it, how games are. You can do a live update, a yearly release. It just seemed, why not then? If that's the case, just turn it into a games as a service. Do what Warframe is doing. Just put Madden and then update 99 or Madden update da 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 and charge a small fee. Because if that's the case, what do we, change the business model? Like you have to understand, like no business model is going to work forever. It will have to eventually transform because things transform. You know, that's my whole thing. It's like these guys keep trying to start fires now with sticks and stones under under a rainstorm when you can easily just use a lighter now or something more effective that won't go out. I don't know.
No,
I just think they
that's
need to change their
that's a
business
good
model, man.
metaphor because it's true, right? I think even in terms, again, using sports as the mainframe, we're a far cry from. I remember 2K11, for example. 2K11 was everywhere. 2K10, 2K11, you couldn't all our homies, at least one person had 2K11, if not multiple. And I think, you see those numbers, you see that era, you see where sports game where people were lined up outside at midnight to get the new Madden. To your point, Jory, it's like that era it's over. It's over. The demographic that appealed to is no more, right? There's sports fanatics for sure. There will always be sports fanatics. We'll have kids. Our kids will kind of get into what we get into, and so on and so forth. But that era, where you could just do something like that has passed. It's the same thing, like I said, with Call of Duty. We're not all sitting down to play a first person shooter with our friends. That magic has worn off now. Not saying that it still can't be fun. It's still appealing. Obviously, it has an audience. But that whole thing of like, hey, we have online, right? At that point, it was trailblazing. You could go online with your friends. It's not console exclusive like Halo. It's not console exclusive like these other games. You could literally play Call of Duty however you want to, whichever console you bought it for, unless it's Nintendo, right? And I think we're at this point now where I don't want 2K to go away, but I also want a reason to play it again. Every time something gets released, I'm like, I don't see any incentive to return to this game, this franchise, for any reason. And again, every time you see it, it's, hey, there's these bucks that you have to buy because we're monetizing the game, and we know that it works, and we know that parents get worn down from their kids who want to take their creative player onto the home court gameplay mechanic, and they need the virtual Jordans. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just such a weird business model. I'm like, I don't understand how this continues to work every single year with no changes, nothing to like cross it up. Imagine if they even implemented a mode to bring NBA Street mechanics into the game. I'd be interested. If we can't get NBA Street back entirely, I'd take the NBA Street
Yeah,
expansion pack.
I mean, these guys are just aren't thinking. Like, if anything, NBA Streets is the game where you would sell um microtransactions to. In my opinion, you would have a hub world for an NBA Street game.
Mm,
That like that would be the epitome of like doing that, where you can actually focus. You can have your little 2K, boom, play it. But if you guys want to interact and have fun, da da da, I think street football would be like, oh, I beat everybody in this region. Let me go to this region, see what type of players they got. Like you
mm,
could easily, like you could do a creative way of doing it, like how Mario does their soccer. But of course, you would have a more realistic style
yeah,
similar to
more
Street.
technical savvy game. Mm,
Technical savvy game. Oh man, with this, I finally could run on walls, man. I finally could run on walls. You need a special da 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 stat to do this type of tackle.
mm,
Um, and you just, turned it into find a way to make the mechanics creative enough and play it. Madden could have easily been working on this could have been the first time we get in installment mode. Yo, I ain't gonna lie, I played the Madden first person mode. And to be honest with you, dog, it's not bad.
mm,
You could have already been there. You could have had that in the game versus people say, "Oh, what is it like to play Madden in first person?"
mm,
You know, it could give you a new, different level of playing. What if you play Madden in a closer setup? More closer, more intense angles or whatnot. Anything. These guys aren't doing anything to innovate the gameplay to have you more immersed. So I ask myself, what am I buying?
right.
That's why I altogether just stopped playing Madden. It's just I'm not gonna buy this again.
Mm.
You're not
But
gonna
you,
buy it. Like at right this point now, they should just do like games as a service. It's manageable. You can update the roster when you are, and then after that, you'll do a whole new. When there's new consoles, you do a whole new expansion pack. Now,
right.
of course, they might abuse it. I'm just
I mean,
saying,
they absolutely
but
would.
absolutely would. But I don't. When I say games as a service, I mean like have like an initial base game, and then I guess whenever they have a new roster or a legit roster, you can charge for that or
Yeah,
however they want to go about it. But and then not only that, they have the monopoly. That's the only they had rivals when we were in the 04s.
exactly.
You feel me? So this was putting a fire underneath them
Right.
because
Like
there
we
was
don't
times
want
where
live. Yeah.
ESPN was better.
Mm,
ESPN, even football was better than Madden.
mm.
Like people just was just glued to it, but I was like, nah, this ESPN did this mechanic far better than this one did. So, you
Do you
know,
guys do you guys feel like we I don't mean the we literally, but do you guys feel like our generation contributed to the downfall of these other franchises? Like I remember, for example, NFL Blitz. They ended up doing I think the last proper game they put out was like Blitz the League, where it's like it had a lot of blitz mechanics, but you could actually break bones. Like they had like a whole system where if you tackle someone the right way, you saw that muscle tear. Like, hey, your quarterback is done, and it was great. It wasn't as arcadey as what we grew up on, but I think it still took it in an interesting direction. Of yeah, what if you wanted to play a football game where you just hurt people? The whole point is to just hurt people, and it's not real. Like it's not like it's not actually Michael Vick. It's these a lot of these almost like what's that league? That other league they have for football. Um, the one that The Rock was trying to buy into for a couple
oh,
years ago.
XFL.
XFL. It was like XFL style
Oh, he
players.
didn't buy it?
I mean, maybe he did. I'm just saying in terms of like it wasn't like actual NFL players. Like you
Got
couldn't
you.
actually, what I'm saying?
XFL,
Like
yeah.
yeah, like almost like an XFL style where it's like you're still playing football. The mechanics are still there. It's just it's a different gameplay style, but the game sold poorly. Right. The last NBA Street we got NBA Street Home Court. Granted, it wasn't the greatest of games, but it sold poorly. And I wonder to what degree was it something where is it on the consumer's end where it's like if we don't show support, it's understandable why they will pull that plug, or is it just like Jory said, where like the monopolization of it just kind of led to the eventual downfall, no matter what?
I say a little bit of both.
Okay,
Yeah,
Mm,
I say both.
okay.
expand on it,
Yeah,
bro.
cause no, because when you really look at it, bro, it's like two sides to the same coin. There's a
Mm,
bit of both. Like it's like almost like night and day Optimus and Megatron. It's a contribution on both sides where, no matter what, this is the end result. 2 plus 3 equals 5.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the end result.
Okay. Because it's just
Mm.
I think it's one of those things where I also don't want it to be where because games are now taking so long to be put out across the board. I feel like we're slowly being put in a position as consumers where it's like, hey, if you don't support this franchise, we're deading it. And I don't want
Yeah,
it to be a situation where, again, I don't want it to be where only CyberConnect 2 can make Naruto, only EA can make a 2K game or basketball games in general. Only Insomniac can handle superhero properties. It's not the gameplay environment that we grew up in, one, and two, nor do I feel like it's healthy for that environment in the first place. I've never seen too many good things come from just one company running everything in a genre.
yeah,
And it's starting to feel like certain aspects of the gaming genres are slowly but surely heading that way outside of like the indie scene.
yeah. Because like look for example, man. When Rocksteady gave us, the Arkham series, it was a beautiful product for its time, and then to this day, Arkham Knight is still a very beautiful game, bro. Even when you play it now, it's like wow, like this is very top notch.
Man, that believes in my bad,
And
my
then
bad, bro.
and then Insomniac stepped into the ring with the Spider-Man series. So like yes, there are some company gems that really take the leap of faith to really branch out and do something. Even in terms of what's the name of that company that's doing all the beat 'em ups now?
Dotemu.
Yeah, look at them, bro. Never heard of them in my life. But Streets of Rage, Ninja Turtles, I mean, hopefully somebody else, starts to really, reintroduce like other beat 'em ups and things of that nature. But it's just like, yeah, man. And it kind of goes back to like what I was really trying to, when me and Joy was talking about the spinoffs. It's come to the point where like it has to sell so bad to the point where every new property is a gamble. Yes, like and you made a very fair point. Like there is much more leniency when it comes to indies. I feel because look at like indies like Journey, Abzu, things of those natures. Like yes, they're beautiful travel verse games, and people just loved it because it was different. Like you just had to just immerse yourself in the universe. Like yeah,
Cuphead.
yeah. You just had to
Cuphead,
immerse you.
yeah, Cuphead.
You just had to immerse yourself. So like yeah, they were great. They were great indie projects. But then everything else is taken so seriously. It's like this has to make sense financial wise. And for example, WB Games is a very prime thing. Like bro, Mortal Kombat might be their savior because everything else is kind of yeah. Like
And
to be
you know
honest,
what?
It doesn't have to be that way though.
it,
Yeah,
it, it
it
doesn't
does it.
it doesn't have to be that way, but I can foresee, bro, like and this is my honest guess. They're either going to cancel the Suicide Squad game or they're gonna release it and take an L. And knowingly take an L. Yeah.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can
If they
cancel it.
cancel,
But either way, they know that they're gonna take an L.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because they know that people are still gonna buy it just for the loyalist brand, I would say. But numbers, nah.
that Batman game, and y'all take the Courts of Owls story, a phenomenal story, and do nothing with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah, bro. That was
And
that
then
was
not
that was a huge L. Huge L.
tragic, man. One of the best Batman stories in a long time. So I'm looking at the game. I'm like, yo, if Rocksteady had this, we would not even be talking right now because
But
we would not even.
somebody from IGN said this. This is like, oh, this is basically a Ninja Turtles game, or it should have been a Ninja Turtles game. Look, you have the acrobatic leader in blue. Um. Oh yeah, you have a tech savvy person with a baton, Batgirl, which is Donatello. Oh, you have the kind of sort of second in command brute, who just has anger issues, Red Hood and Raphael. And then you have the young trickster with all the new gadgets and toys. Oh, Michelangelo and Tim Drake Robin, right? Okay.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
still
Wow.
fumbled.
People I keep and that's what I kept saying, bro. Like Rocksteady's next property, it should have been a much darker universe than Ninja Turtles, bro. Like, I mean, I'm still hopeful whatever this last Ronin looks like, but I do feel like Ninja Turtles is in a very great place, bro. Especially after watching that movie, that last one. They're
That movie
putting,
was good.
yeah,
The movie was good. I did have a some. We'll talk about it after.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't
We
watch
can,
it
we
yet,
can,
It's
so
dope.
yeah, I didn't
yeah,
Yeah,
watch it yet.
it's
yeah. Okay, but then, like I said, like yeah, like there are certain properties, bro, that yeah. Because like, look for example, even look at this brawler, Nickelodeon, Nickelodeon
You
brawlers
know,
too.
I tip my hat to them. I'm glad that they're trying it again. I'm glad. Like
Because
I was like,
they
oh,
know
but
because they know they shot themselves in the foot, bro. Like literally, you mean to tell me the first one had no voice acting? So
yeah,
it's literally just people just smacking each. I was like, bro, no. You mean to tell me you made this game for
unacceptable,
how long, and
unacceptable.
you had no voice actors, man? Yep, that is
I don't I'd be so amazed at who's at the helm of these decisions. You
who
deserve to fail. You
who.
deserve to fail. You deserve to fail. Like you deserve to perish.
Yeah, because it look.
Nobody's having bread and toast anymore. I'm sorry. Look at the nonsensical you just you're giving millions to make nonsensical decisions. Word of advice: don't hire a guy from Target who cannot draw, who has no artistic appreciation. Don't hire somebody who does not care about the property. The reason why these games, Spider-Man, Rocksteady, came into the way, Mortal Kombat has a relic still operating with the pieces that he built. Of course, it's going to come out good when
Hmm.
you don't tie his hands.
It's
You
true.
had people who had a passion for Spider-Man. Those people, they found 100 people that wanted to make a Spider-Man game with the equally burning passion.
Yep.
You have no choice but to make magic.
No, even with the movie, bro, like the amount of Easter eggs that are in that movie alone is like, bro, this is one of the most detailed movies I've watched in a
It
long
shouldn't have
time,
worked.
bro. I was like,
It shouldn't have worked based off that scale alone, and it
I
did.
was, bro,
And it's like you have people that want to make these properties. That's what happens. Don't go for the money because you're gonna bite yourself in the foot, man. You're going to fail. These people want to make these properties. These people wanted to make that indie Ninja Turtles game. They wanted to. It's a
like,
difference, man.
look for example, The Last of Us, the show. The only reason why that succeeded, bro, is because you had people who loved the series involved in the production scale from its inception
Hmm.
to the end, bro. And like even in terms of like speaking about more L's, like it kind of looks like DC gave up on multiverse, the fighter. So it's
I heard it was coming back, right? Ain't it coming back?
what you
They're
mean coming back,
coming
bro?
back. Quote quote.
Okay,
No. I mean,
Hey, the
quote
trailer
quote. Like
dropped.
they're
You
they're
feel?
not coming back. Oh, that beta.
Oh,
It's never moving
yeah,
from beta to release,
yeah,
and y'all are not
yeah.
getting refunds. Sorry, get the lawsuit ready.
um, yeah, I could have listened. Like I could have told you where that was gonna go, right?
But it didn't. But
It,
that's what I'm
it
saying. It doesn't have to be. Again, it doesn't have to be that way. You have somehow, some way, you managed to make people care about Arya Stark fighting Batman. I don't know how you guys did it, but there was enough combat mechanics in there for people to be like, "This is actually really cool." And then you do nothing with it. It stays in beta for months, gets new character drops, everything.
It
Where's the
it
release date?
just
Release
you
date?
know
We're going back to testing.
in my mind there's no way. I just don't see them, as big as they are as properties, overshadowing Super Smash Brothers in any way, shape, or form.
I don't think you have to. I mean,
I
I
don't think
get
you have
it,
to
but
either.
because I get it. There's a lot of people who, that's going to be their mindset because, like, look what happened in the PS3 cycle or PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale. To this day, bro, that was a great game to me. It was campy, yes. It was campy, yes, but it was a great game to me. It sold well. The reviews were well. Yes, certain people want a part two, but then I do feel at the end of the day, it proved its point that given the opportunity with the right budget, certain properties could do it. They could put together a world. Like it don't have to make sense. It's just shoot, punch away.
I'll agree with you there, and I was never mad at the roster. But like I said, when the game came out, and I went over by your house, and we was playing it and all that, the fact that you had to super attack to kill your opponent was the stupidest thing you guys ever did. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You have to have a health bar. They had to patch Kratos like 4 times because he just overpowered every. Because again, it's if you don't, you could toss them, you could beat them, you could smack them with a sage object. They cannot die unless you hit them with a super attack. It doesn't make any sense.
And then, of course, Kratos, one of his super moves was the little vortex that he made with the
Yeah,
sword of Olympus that literally takes up almost the full screen.
exactly. He became unstoppable. Like, what is a Big Daddy gonna do in that one?
And
What can Parappa the
for
Rapper do when Kratos gets to
and for
cooking?
me, yeah, I mean, for me, that's a testament to these guys not understanding what it is they're trying to mimic. Because to me, I think this is what people like. I think. So to make it different, let's have them only make specials to kill their opponent. Yeah, like I mean, I swear, because like they prove to me they don't understand the property, man. Like you, like no, you have to kill these guys. They
Like,
have to die.
Yeah.
look what Square Enix did with Dissidia, bro. Like Anthony, I remember you when you pulled me to the side and you raved about that game, bro.
To this day, it's great. For them, the way they fumbled that home console version, it goes back to our point. It's like somebody somewhere missed the point of how the city is supposed to work. They missed the entire point of like, oh, they just want to take all these iconic Final Fantasy characters and have them play Super Smash Bros. Style. No, 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 no. There was a combat mechanics. There was a break system. There was a limit break system. A summoning system. That's what made that game amazing. It was seeing these characters in high definition for the first time, in real time for the first time. No one's taking turns whacking each other with a bat and waiting to get killed. And it's your iconic characters. It's like what happens when Cloud and Squall actually have a conversation. The two moody emo characters. What happens when another character runs into Sephiroth? Like it took the franchise as like a love letter and answer those questions that they had seen fans of the longtime fans of the franchise ask themselves, what happens when this person clashes with that person? Versus the city where it's like,
Multiverse Final Fantasy,
yeah, but done right. But done right.
done right.
And then the console version is
Yeah.
like, hey, you guys want to do again Super Smash Brothers, but behind the shoulder instead of on a flat screen, and all those mechanics in the PSP are just gone. No, no, I don't actually. I just want to play this. I'll just pick up my PSP. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I need to do a deep dive into decision making and to how they come up to these almost like they make so much sense. They make absolutely no sense, man. I just have to see what's the thinking process, who's a part of the staff, what are these people, these investors saying, and what do these investors think that a game is?
Right. And who is the
And
person? Why is there no one there to say no? Like
yeah, and I
no.
believe, yeah, I believe 100% these guys never take responsibility for their losses.
Mm.
I just feel like there's a culture there, kind of like there's a culture of when people hit a certain tax bracket, they kind of just lose touch with reality.
Mm.
I really believe that that's what, because it has to be such a flaw to allow something. It has to be such a character flaw or stigma to block your mind from actually thinking logically and actually trying to understand it. It's like that guy who plays games all the time and doesn't socialize. And when he tells a joke and expects nobody to laugh, expects somebody to laugh, or he goes to talk to a girl, I said hi, I was nice and polite. Why didn't she like me? Like you're going about this in a different matter,
You're
bro.
missing
You
certain
see,
crucial
yeah.
context cues.
I mean, have you put on deodorant?
Yeah,
Have you shaved your beard?
yeah.
You worked out? Look at your hygiene. It
Hey,
could be. It
hey,
could.
hey, certain women like it scruffy, bro.
They
Oh
do
no, no,
like
you know
no,
you
no, no,
fine, you
no,
fine,
no,
you
no. They
fine.
do like it
Don't get me
scruffy.
wrong.
They like
No, I'm
scruffy.
just
They don't like what's the word I'm looking for?
no,
Homeless.
no, but no, but you can talk to Tim and you can just tell that's just his style. It's a style.
It's a conscious
It's a
decision.
look of
He's
his.
not okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, Tim is not unaware of making the scruffy decision. It's not like
you know,
if you told Tim, "Hey Tim, you got the scruff," he's like, "Scruff? What scruff? What do you mean? It's how I look every day."
you can go to Tim's closet and then to have him with a mustard shirt on, with mustard on his shirt and pizza crumbs. You know, like
Mm.
you would
with,
you know you
with the
just
Dragon
it's
Ball Z
something you
button up.
know. You can see his posture, how he greets you, how he talks. He would be someone. Oh, okay. He has more of a natural, simple tone, more a mellow approach to his style, and it'll make its point easily. You feel me?
Sorry for the tangent, everybody.
No, no, no.
No,
You're
you good,
good.
you
You're
good.
good. You're good.
But I'm just is that's these decision making, man. I'll be so baffled, man.
Yeah, you just got to tie it
Like
back in. It's the. I think bringing up Rocksteady and Insomniac were great points on both of you guys, and because they, especially Insomniac, they haven't lost sight of what made even some mediocre Spider-Man games great, right? So you look at some of the mechanics they pulled from. There's not, to be fair, especially with the first Spider-Man, there's not really a lot of mechanics that were, I would say, brand spanking new to the Spider-Man franchise. They took a lot of the really good ideas that maybe weren't fleshed out the best, from different games. Even the Amazing Spider-Man game, which was terrible, had a really cool web zipping mechanic that they took and improved upon. I'm still waiting and praying and hoping that they borrow a little bit more inspiration from the combat system from Web of Shadows. But it shows to me that, like Jory said, like there's a passion and a focus there of like we know what has to be in a Spider-Man game. He can't swing from the clouds. He can't, ballerina through the air. He needs to attach a web to a building. He needs to have wall running mechanics. He has to have a spider sense dodge. He can't not have it. These have to be in the Spider-Man game. And I think with some of these other companies, it's just like you can't, you don't have to beat Super Smash Brothers, but you realize that yes, there's a gap between games. They only release a Smash Brothers every console cycle. Hey, they need a health bar. It can't just be super moves. Hey, they need voice acting. Part of the reason why you're selling this game is nostalgia. The Ninja Turtles speak. That was part of the gimmick. Teenagers as turtles. They have to say words.
Helga Bataki. So you mean tell me Helga don't talk when she punching Cat Dog in the face? Okay. Otto. Otto doesn't. You can't hear his slang. Okay. And I'm supposed to buy this.
Yeah.
that's crazy. That's
Part of
crazy.
Rocket Power was the conversation. Part of
Raymundo.
yeah,
Woo! None of that. None of that, kid.
yeah,
That's crazy.
that's what I'm
No
saying. Like
Tommy.
there's certain things where it's like you guys realize this is not even you being different. You're missing key components of
Of
what
what
makes
makes you
a game.
unique.
And and to tie it all back together before we move on, that's also what's missing from NBA 2K24. You're missing what makes this a sports game. I don't buy a game so I can buy virtual Jordans for my creative player. I don't even do creative player to buy these things. I play creative player because we all had hoop dreams, but then realized we weren't going to shoot past 6 foot and had to figure out a different way. So
Oh man.
You know, I can only dunk on LeBron virtually. Don't make me pay to do it. That's it.
And it's only a matter of time before somebody gets the idea to make a free to play NBA Street,
Mm.
NFL Street, and that game is going to be the most basic fun you'll ever have, right? Imagine your entire football field is a city, and you got a whole bunch of players just trying to tackle each other.
Yeah.
Imagine that, you know? So
Just with
it's only a
different
matter of time,
stadiums,
man.
interesting ideas. Yeah.
Look at what they're doing with kickball. There's a free to play kickball game that's actually very fun.
I can believe it.
You
There's a
know,
lot of
so
indie RPGs this year that are starting to do very well, apparently. A lot of that kind of borrow from that Legend of the Dragoons, Brave Fencer Musashi era of games that have
Bro,
just been kind of forgotten
bro,
about.
bro, bro. PlayStation 1 era RPGs to this day have some of the most in-depth concepts that you could think of, bro. Legend of Dragoon, J Cocoon.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hmm.
Mega Man Legends 1, bro. Like to this day is like that's still
Even
the
though it's like
best.
it's an RPG light, but it
Yeah,
is, yeah.
but to this day, but it's like, bro, that is still one of the most best Mega Man games ever, ever. And then two advance on some good things, but it's just limbo.
man, those are games you didn't know you needed.
Yeah, bro.
That
Yeah,
was the appeal.
Whenever,
That was
whenever,
the appeal.
whenever, whenever you get a game you didn't know you needed, everything starts to synchronize and make sense, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And it works because if for whatever reason it wasn't your cup of tea, right? Let's say you're a diehard Mega Man fan and the top down semi open world of Mega Man Legends didn't work. They're still making side scrolling Mega Man games. You're not losing, and it's not one thing or nothing, right? You still have the option to kind of dip your toes into both pools for the genre, and still see the love in both, right? You could tell there's a love for lore in Mega Man Legends and there's a love for lore in the Mega Man games, and it both just jump out the gym in terms of sales. But I don't know. That's yes. I do apologize to listeners for the tangent, but I just think it's we're in a kind of a weird space when it comes to how games are being structured, and I think the sports genre is being hit the worst with it currently. And I can't foresee a renaissance era of it anytime soon. So that's all I really had topic wise. That's all we really had topic wise in terms of games for this week. Now moving into the anime side of things for our discussion. I did have it in the group chat, and to be transparent, Jory, I still have not watched the reboot of Rurouni Kenshin. But I did see a video kind of breaking down how the first episodes have been received so far and how much more accurate it is to the original story. And one of the things that got brought up in that discussion that I found very interesting is that despite it being more accurate, despite it being more stylized and animated well, and even embracing the new design, quote unquote, that Kenshin has, based on some of the newer drawings of him by the author, it doesn't have an English dub as of right now. It's only in Japanese. There's been no announcement of an English dub. And one of the things that was noted in the video is like they theorized that maybe it might have something to do with the controversy surrounding that series. Of we all know, as people who grew up during the great anime era, the West does dictate the success of certain anime. Your anime is only going to go so far if it doesn't blow up in the US and the UK. And I'm not saying we're the make or break and everything. There's a lot of Japanese exclusive anime and properties that do very well in Japan. But Dragon Ball Z doesn't become Dragon Ball Z without America. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just one of those things. Part of the reason why Rurouni Kenshin is so well loved is because it came to Toonami. So,
Yep.
so the thing with this is, for those who don't know, Rurouni Kenshin, the author, I want to say this was like 4 years ago, was arrested briefly for having copious amounts of child pornography in his possession, to the point that the police at one point thought that he was a distributor of child pornography. That's how much child pornography he had. Now, there's some controversy as well as to how he managed to beat the charges and not be in prison for the rest of his life. But long story less long, he's not in jail. I think he got fined pretty heavily, and he's still currently writing more Rurouni Kenshin. And the reason why I brought it up is I wanted to ask you guys, one, how do you feel about that in terms of, do you feel like it will hurt the overall legacy and impact and reach of this reboot? And is there a scenario in which you think an anime, even though it comes from a different cultural background, can beat the charges? Can we separate the art from the artist when it comes to anime and manga?
For me, no. I felt they should have cut ties with him.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, for example, look at there was an issue with a guy in the company over Skullgirls, where he was causing like a lot of workplace environment issues, like harassment, things of that nature, and they cut him out. They got rid of him, and they continued the Skullgirls product without him, and I feel like that's what continues the integrity. But then of course, with this dude, you know, it's a different story. But then
Mm-hmm.
that's why I do feel like, cut ties with them, yes. Keep the intellectual property, which is the product, but find new writers. We've seen lately, and somebody posted this on Twitter the other day. It was like four different animation styles of the Goku and Vegeta fight, and I was like, you know what? That just proves that yes, somebody else could take the mantle. Even like with this with these these Pokemon shorts. Yes, it still has the spirit of Pokemon, but of course it's an entirely different team doing the animation, the drawing, and aspects of that nature. So like yes, like the dude, he's a creep. He's a creep. Cut ties with him. Cut ties with him because yes, like especially as I say, as it transcends over to the West, that is going to be a major factor.
Mm-hmm.
That is a major. That's going to be a major factor. I was like, oh, he did what? Wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
Nah. Oh, he's
Yep.
still involved with the project? Nah.
Mm-hmm. And as much as some of our politicians' actions would tell you otherwise, most of the West still don't rock with that underage foolishness. But I'm with you, Jory. I know this is obviously Rurouni Kenshin hits closer to home for you than us. So, what do you think? Do you feel like it's is it can you still step in the name of love if the author's R. Kelly?
I mean, it's man, it's hard, man, because that was the manga that I think I got a hold of that manga when I was in the seventh grade,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when I realized that's what I didn't like American comics anymore
Mm.
because everything that the manga did felt like it was moving motion picture.
Mm-hmm.
It was literally moving. The movement, the speed, I can feel everything with still images. It birthed me. Um, when I found out the allegations, I didn't want to believe it. I thought, people were just doing what people do.
Yeah.
Then the official report came out from Viz Media, and
Yeah.
then yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, if they released it, I don't make. I think it will still get. Um, I think people will still watch it. It won't. Not a lot of people will watch it.
Mm.
I think it'll still be people will be like, yo. Some people will be like, well, I like Rurouni Kenshin, and then so I'm gonna still watch it. Some people are gonna be like, now me, I had to see what artistic wise, what some of the decisions they were gonna make as a studio.
Mm-hmm.
So I can remove myself to a degree, um, to a degree, to just see like just look at the just to see Rurouni Kenshin.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know, man. I still haven't fully made a decision, man, because it's just like this is the book that taught me how to draw
Mm-hmm.
the way it did.
Mm-hmm.
It taught me how to do the speed lines. I didn't have any YouTube tutorials. I didn't have any. I could show you how beat up my book is. You know, I didn't know how to do impact. I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. So, of course, you know, the artist is, you know, it's just the artist. I'm not gonna continue to like the artist is, you know. Just go ahead, Tim, and say,
No, say it with your chest, bro. That's what I was about to
Yeah.
tell you. Say it. Just say
He
it.
said, yeah.
Just say it. Just say
yeah,
it.
Oh,
you know, the
oh.
artist is, you know, just like I don't. I mean, I'm just. It just for me is like I ask more questions. How do you get to that place where that's what you want to?
To
Well, to be
engage in.
honest,
Go ahead, Tom.
well, to be honest, bro, you never know people's life, man. You never know.
This is true.
You
This
never
is
know.
true.
How do you get to that place to where like you wanna, you know, I just you know, I don't know, I don't understand. You know,
Yeah.
me being a teacher myself now, teaching at the Cultural Arts Center, you don't even think that way, man. You just it for me it's more like it's an adventure when you look at children in a way, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just fun. Like people are just living. The kids the kids don't know the world. They just want to be alive. And it's like, man, and you get like you actually care. Man, for me, there's been more revelation now that I'm reflecting on it.
Mm.
Being someone who works there in a system like that, those are your kids, man.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you like it or not, man.
Mm-hmm.
You're a surrogate you're a surrogate parent. Even
Yeah.
the kids that you don't like, you have to make
Leave it.
sure like
Yeah. To leave an impact on them and guide them as
you're
best as you
not
can.
being yeah, you're not being. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I haven't really bought or not bought in or like just kind of like not really as I don't like Rurouni Kenshin as much as I used to because of that.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, it's not my pride and joy. But if I'm gonna give you from a teacher's for a good piece, someone who does give you tips of oh this manga does a good job at objectively this manga does a good job at
Mm.
doing this. This manga does a good job at doing that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. R.
That's
Kelly
it.
got slaps. That it is what it is.
Yeah,
The world's
yeah,
greatest is the world's greatest. What do you want me to say? The Ignition remix
yeah.
exists.
Even
I don't know what to tell you.
I think that Boondocks episode was so deep,
On point. Yeah, on point. Mm-hmm.
because man, there like you know I'm not gonna go say too much, but like the music sometimes you catch yourself singing it in the shower.
Yeah.
You'll get to the mid verse and you'll stop and you'll be like but you know and you ask yourself well you know like Bobby Womack. I don't know if you
Mo-
know his story.
no, most of their
Boy,
stories.
you know,
Most of
Bobby
the
Womack.
stories.
So, you know, like I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
It's I don't have the answers, man. I know like, you know, with homie, I took cut ties with him. You know, like this, you can't be redeemed, man.
Yeah.
It's not no Game of Thrones arc where you could get rewritten. You know what I'm saying? Like your redemption is you being written out of
Yeah.
existence, you know.
It's.
Um
I'll go if you're good. Yeah.
nah, it hurts because like I could show you how beat up this literally created my future, man.
Mm.
I got this good because of the storylines and the arcs and whatnot. You know, look at how beat up this manga is. It's not because I care about like I read this manga. It's like a tool for me to learn. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it birthed me, man. So yeah, you almost now don't want to find out about anything anymore about your favorite
Oh, no.
anything.
The older you
You
get,
just
the more you realize ignorance is bliss is truly the truth. The less you know about
look at our
things,
favorite artist of all time,
sheesh,
and he wilded. Now he banned from Italy you,
sheesh.
for life. So I don't know. Somebody talk to me. Help
Yeah,
me
no,
rationalize
yeah.
or
Like I
yeah.
said, it was closer
Go
to you.
ahead.
I have plenty to say. For me, it does get a little bit tricky because I'm also very self aware of certain things in which we're all hypocrites to a certain degree, right? We all have things that either we struggle with or indulge in or have a hard time with that other people may not hold in the best light, right? So I'd never want to approach these things as the moral police. I know for me personally, I've always taken things that involve children in any form or fashion very, very, very seriously. Fortunately, I've been privileged and blessed enough to not have had any traumatic child experiences. I believe, to the best of my recollection, like my innocence of being a kid was intact for as long as I was a child. I don't have, any traumatic stories that like trigger me when I hear about things involving kids. But it's also part of the reason why, at least for me, I have a hard time separating art from artist in that case in particular, because I do believe being a kid is such a crucial and cherished time in someone's life. I'm not saying that as an adult you can't heal from certain things that happen to you, especially at the hands of another adult or being exposed to things that, adults expose kids to. But,
Yeah.
you know, as we all sort through our 30s, right, and being the millennials and having such a culturally blessed era of childhood, of the anime we were introduced to, the games we were introduced to, the TV we were watching, the cartoons we got to see, right? To be able to have seen that through such a pure and innocent lens is something that we all reflect on to this day, right? That's why nostalgia is so powerful. You're like, there was a time where things were just simpler and more pure. So when I hear situations of, the R. Kellys with the underage girls, or the author of Rurouni Kenshin being caught with child pornography, it upsets me in a different way, because it's like you did not have enough respect for these kids. And then, of course, he wasn't caught with kids in the case of the author, but like you didn't have enough respect for this time, this crucial time in someone's life, that you couldn't see how disgusting this is. It's a hard thing of like, I can't, I don't even want to give like a comparison of what I could look over, but like it's one of those things where like I have such a hard time disconnecting from it, because it's like, why would you even engage in this, right? So we joked a lot of times about seven deadly sins, but part of the reason why I never really got into it is because some of the things when it came to Meliodas and his relationship, and then Bond and his relationship, I just wasn't comfortable with. I get it, I understand. In both
You already know how
cases,
I feel about Meliodas.
I know, right? But like in both cases, I get the legalities of it, right? It's like she's a reincarnation of his long lost wife. She's technically hundreds of years old. In Bond's case, his girl, she's technically hundreds of years old, but they're depicted as children, or they're depicted as a 15-year-old girl, 12-year-old girl. It's like, why would you even do this? Why would you even do this? Make them an adult. They're an adult. It's not funny to me. I don't find the humor in these underage. I'm gonna walk the line with this depiction. So, for as much as I've come to appreciate the series of Rurouni Kenshin, late into my teen years and as an adult, it is kind of like the R. Kelly effect all over again. Like, I cannot see past what's supporting you when I take
I was
in your art.
I was a kid when I got Rurouni Kenshin. I was
Mm-hmm.
a kid, 14 years old, 13 years old, like no, 13 years old when I got a hold of my Rurouni Kenshin novel.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Um, and then, it's so crazy. There's no hints of that through the
At all.
manga. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing great at all. There's no,
Which
like,
goes to Tim's
and
point, like you
it's
don't really know
just
people. You don't really know people's lives. But
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
yeah. Um, no, I mean, yeah, it's there was times where when it happened, when he got charged, and I think you broke the news to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, it was just like, like this is my trainer,
Mm-hmm.
and he trained Oda.
You trained a lot of people,
He
whether it be
trained a lot
directly
of
or
people,
indirectly.
man. So, indirectly, and I fall under that. Um, yeah, man. So back to it being received well. I think people will still check it out, and if he doesn't have any more involvement in it, I think people will give it a chance. because he, as long as if they cut ties with it, but if he's still involved, I don't think Rurouni Kenshin itself is like Rurouni Kenshin in itself as a property, as a manga, is not. It doesn't hint anything of it. Like if it was something more like Seven Deadly Sins, I'd be like, yeah, throw the whole thing away, because the intent is bleeding out into the characters.
Yeah.
But but Rurouni Kenshin doesn't hint that at all. It's actually a very, it's actually, if you didn't add it, it's a decent romance story, you know, or a decent redemption story of the samurai who refuses to kill. It's a very very good story, and if he has no more involvement in it, then it'll fare. I think if they release a statement, due to da 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 da, we understand we've cut ties. We still would continue the property of Rurouni Kenshin because of factors that we see that does not harm or glue itself to the author. And because of this, we'll continue with the property. We're going to give it to the hands of someone who will do the property justice. I think it'll do fine. That's how I came in going into this. Watching it, because I just wanted to see what they will do, what choices they'll make. It's missing, in my opinion, some of the edge of the original manga. Original anime. There were certain directional choices, stylistic choices that I thought were perfect for that anime. And if that translated, and it had a slower pace. This one seems to be just nothing. It doesn't have the effect as the other one. I felt like the other effect built up tension better.
But that could just be a,
Well, I
a
just
result of how anime has evolved, right? The
Yeah.
the days of 6 episodes of Goku and Vegeta on Namek are over.
No, but Attack on Titan has tension that it builds up within episodes, and they execute it very well at certain times.
Have you rewatched it recently?
Attack on Titan?
Yeah. I could
You
maybe
don't think
think
so?
I
I
can
think
maybe
so.
think of 2-3 episodes where absolutely nothing happens in all the seasons that's ever aired.
Oh
There's
no,
always
well
something
that's
happening.
just there's always something where you talk. Well, like that is story driven, you know what I'm saying? But when it's time for the tension to be ramped up, it's there.
On a thousand.
Erwin talking to Falco, Aaron talking to Falco, yeah, tension. With Rainer there, tension. The episode where Kenshin fights Jin E. In the episode, Jenny puts a spell on Miss Karu, and she's dying. And he's like, "Yo, Kenshin, you could easily save her. Just turn back into the Batosai." You see, and then that was felt in the original. It wasn't so much felt in this episode. So, um, it's just like you guys watch it yourself. You watch the original, and then you watch the new anime that recently dropped.
Tim.
You won't see the yeah. Um,
He's
you
like,
won't
even
see the
bootleg, I could feel the support, and I can't.
yeah, yeah.
Tim, you were gonna say something about the animation?
no. You kind of cleared up my point. You
Oh,
said the same thing. Like even just like how anime has evolved, or just like even like the current climate of we are in just in terms of developing a story now these days. Things have changed, man. Things really have changed, truly.
yeah. I have a friend who can't she can't get into Full Metal Alchemist because of how slow it starts. And I'm like, if you only knew the amazing story that awaits for you if you just continue to watch Brotherhood. And she's just like, no, it just starts off slow because I kind of introduced her into anime and I used Attack on Titan, but Attack on Titan episode 1, the whole entire town gets massacred and the main character's mom gets eaten in front of him. How do I
I
compare
think
that?
I think that has to do with someone who just needs to develop a better, a more wide range of. To be honest with you, because if you watch a film overseas like a BCC show, that is a slow paced, but the tension and the payoff, And I think that's just for me. I mean, I'm gonna go there, and I don't have a problem with it because I'm prepared to pull out my sword against the person, whoever wants to go there. But I think you need to develop more of a broader range of you just have to develop more of a broader range.
Expand your palette.
Yeah, expand the palette. Like
Expand it.
I'm not in the dramas. I'm not in the dramas, but there was a time where I was like, yo, I'm tired of an action film.
Mm.
And then I realized and I was able to appreciate a slower paced film. I was able to appreciate why people keep saying, oh my gosh, Jory, this director, Alfred Hitchcock, is amazing. Now I see why he's amazing. To see what he did as a filmmaker, to have no cuts with the equipment that he had,
Mm-hmm.
applause.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to like how modern, I would say this second era of modern Marvel fans now, after basically the whole thing with Thanos, a lot of people, there was a lot of people who started the series from there. And then everybody wants this Infinity War Endgame type of rollout for every single Marvel property. Because, especially, when they were doing the shows, a lot of people's like, oh, this one sucked. This one sucked. This one sucked too. It's like, what are they doing? It's like, yes, like, there is a bit of Endgame burnout in it. But then, there are certain things. Well, have you even researched the property of this particular character? Like, for example, people were like, "Oh, why is She-Hulk so corny?" I was like, "Bro, have you read She-Hulk the comic? It's a sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
It's so all of this stuff, especially with modern day elements, and we'll say it out loud: the Meg the Stallion
Oh.
connection, on brand, on brand, on 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 brand." And then that episode did crazy numbers
Mm-hmm.
just for those two cameos. Did numbers. It was on brand. It was on brand. She Hulk was on brand. Yeah, Loki was the one, the best one in terms of story depth, and that's hence why it's getting a season two. Yes, Falcon and Winter Soldier. It was okay. It was okay.
It started off
It
great.
started off good.
It started
It
off
just
really good.
the villain could not convince me
Yeah.
They
that
Disneyfied him. That's what I said.
Yes.
yeah,
Even
like it
even
was just
even the same thing would happen. And this really hurt my soul. What they did to Kingpin and Hawkeye, they Disneyfied him. They Disneyfied my boy so hard, and it was
I don't
just
know who that character was.
it hurt so bad to see that, bro. Like, wow, they literally
such a great actor.
they literally
An
turned this
amazing
into a.
actor.
Squandered. Squandered
It's
it.
like they literally turned this series into just a holiday Christmas special. I was like, wow, wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, expand your palette, bro, because look at the movies now that they've made. To be honest, the best I would say Phase 5. No, we're in Phase
For
4.
Marvel, we're nearing the end of 4. We haven't hit 5 yet,
Okay, yeah. So for the best film so far for 4 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
which
Because
is
technically
that's bad,
Wakanda
bro.
Forever. But then technically, Wakanda Forever was the end of the last phase.
That's not a
So
good
it
thing.
was
Wakanda Forever was I ain't like it, man.
It was good. It was good enough.
No. Uh,
I appreciated certain elements of it. But yeah, like to get back on topic, man, it just you gotta really expand. You gotta expand your palette, and you also gotta do some research, bro. Like do
Mm-hmm.
some
yeah.
research. Like, do you even know what this movie is about? Do you even know who these characters are? And we're not telling you to go into a deep dive into the multiverse of comics. We're not telling you to do that. It's just like brush up on some stuff, bro. Like,
Yeah.
and it would help out so much. Like the first time I saw Dune, the latest iteration, this is a film, this is a show that my godfather talked about so much when I was a child. He is like, no, the reason why Star Wars exists is because of this film series here.
Mm.
George Lucas tried to make something to combat this. So yeah, when I watched the first movie, graphically, cinematically, it's a masterpiece. But I did not know what the hell was going on in the story. until I came across this 5 minute YouTube clip, which basically told me it is Game of Thrones in space. I watched it fully and I said, now I know everything.
Mm.
So going into part two, hit me.
Just like cinema.
And there's not a lot going on in that film, but when you know a movie's good, it's okay. I love that movie. Love that movie. Because for me, I'm a when you have visual set pieces that have expansion and they can convince me that I'm there.
Let
Oh,
let go. Let go. But to this day, that scene still lives in my head. That quote that he said about life, like is literally just a process. Like he was literally fighting the currents of the wind, which was tearing the ship apart, and all he had to do was let go. And then they survived a cyclone by doing nothing. Survived a storm, a desert storm,
Yeah.
by doing nothing.
yep, man.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the to bring it full circle. I think that's the beauty of you know the diversity in which these genres that we consume offer, right? Of when I think of, for example, like Death Note, it's a murder mystery in which you know who the killer is from episode one, and it's one of the most tense things you will ever watch.
Look at Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh is another prime example. We can't forget about the intensity that Yu-Gi-Oh brought. And I didn't look like you got to understand. That's why I never accept somebody. Oh, it's too slow. It's too this. It's too that. I said no. You just need to grow. You need to grow.
Till this day, I go on Yahoo to try to find that picture from the commercial when Joey was mind controlled, and that is just that grim look on Joey Wheeler's face, and he pulls out a card against his own friend. To this day, I
Mm,
cannot find that image on Google. Till this day, and
Man,
it lives, and
man.
that scene from that commercial, like from that scene to the commercial break for Kids
mm.
WB, it lives in my head so much, bro.
Because
Man,
it's the different storytelling. As a kid, right? As a kid, we're going on a super tangent, but it's fine. As a kid, it's like you think of Duelist Kingdom, and I remember distinctly as a kid, I hated. I thought Kaiba was the worst character in the world when he stood on top of that tower and it's like, if you want to beat me, you have to blow me off of this tower. I'm like, you're such a
oh
cheater. Like, take your
man,
L. Stop being a loser.
oh my
I'm like,
gosh,
you can't beat
you
Yugi. But as I
yelling
got
at the
old,
screen, dog,
yeah, but but as I got older, I'm like,
yelling at the
man,
screen.
I'm like, what a conflict. It's like your only living relative is your little brother who is being held ransom by your company's competitor. And then on the other side, Yugi's only relative is his grandfather whose soul is snatched. There's a huskless corpse back at the game shop that he's trying to rescue. And Yami's only objective is to help Yugi get his granddad back. I'm like, this is tension. But like I can't explain that to somebody like, oh, look at these monsters in these cars. Oh, a blue eyes white dragon. What is that? Oh, it's like no,
They have
no.
no idea,
There's and
no idea.
to go deeper into that. There's always there's big theory as to why Goku told Krillin to let Vegeta go. It's because Goku realized, especially when he met Raditz, Nappa, and Vegeta, he is no longer alone in the universe. And look what happened. Raditz is dead. Nappa is dead. So wow, he's the only person that I have a connection to in terms of culture. And that's where he started to get curious about his culture. It's like, wow, the one person who introduced my identity to me is my enemy.
I could take it. I could take it.
That's deep.
Yeah.
So
That's deep.
that's what,
That's deep.
because people are saying that it was that curiosity is like, I want to know more. And I can know more by actually fighting you. So that's why
Mm.
he let him go.
And why Goku gave Gohan Cell the Sensu Bean
No, that was just
because he
no, no,
believed in Gohan.
no, that was just dumb. That was just dumb. No,
Because he believed in Gohan so
no,
I was
no,
much.
gonna
that was
say
just
like
dumb.
I don't
It was
know.
dumb,
Yeah.
I'm kind of with Jory Tim.
dumb.
it's it's overly simplistic because it's
No,
Dragon
we
Ball.
we looking at this like with like 9-year-old head, just like you feel
Plot,
me?
plot.
I hate Kaiba. You feel me?
No,
Like,
it's plot armor, bro. It's just plot armor.
nah, man, nah,
It's
nah, nah, I'm
it
gonna
was
take that.
it
I'm gonna
was it
take
was
that.
just Madara level plot armor. That's all it was. It
Any,
don't make sense. It's just here for the show.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. All right. I think we kind of hit the basis of my question. And to kind of end this pod on a lighter note, obviously we kind of shift the topics towards a lighter note anyway. But for the last segment of this week's pod, I did ask you guys to pick at least because we want to embrace the diversity that we have on this pod, the things that help us stand out even more in the things that we offer to our listeners and our viewers. And I wanted to embrace the moments of specifically black characters in anime that left an impression on you. And the reason why I say that is, as I was thinking back, just over the anime that we all watched and consuming or currently consuming, it's not that I place emphasis on Japanese culture to showcase black culture. Like, obviously, I wouldn't put that expectation on them. But growing up, we had such little representation of our own that we claimed Piccolo as black. Like, he had to be our black character, right? Because otherwise, every other depiction in Dragon Ball was just maybe not the greatest showcasing of ourselves. And even
yeah,
in our main series that we kind of grew up watching, there just wasn't a lot of representation of like, this is a true and blue black person. A person who embraces that cultural background. And of course, we're seeing more of it now, right? But I'm sure, like, as you guys have like reflected back, I'm sure there's other characters that have sat with you in terms of, wow, what a refreshing surprise in this genre to see this black character do all these things and not be a caricature. So I'll start. For me, and I think I've said this I've actually said this to both of you guys at certain points. For as many characters that have been introduced over the years that are black, the one that really sat with me, and I guess in an envelope setting, was the Raikage from Naruto. Because at that point we had seen Bleach, right? Tosin, I think Tosin is actually a really cool design. I like that he's a blind black samurai. Like, that's really cool, right, in the Bleach universe. But it was something about the Raikage, Killer Bee, the hidden Cloud Village, where it's like it almost walked this fine line of stereotypes, right? Killer Bee is a rapper, right? The Raikage is basically a professional wrestler, and we all know what the SmackDown era did to us as kids, right? like black people in wrestling go hand in hand. But just to see such a, again, it wasn't caricature, right? They weren't parody characters. To see the level of design, like the Raikage's braids, right? The way it was done. The fact that they were, they kind of stayed out of everybody's way, but there was such a technologically advanced village to the point that even in the last movie, they're the ones that designed the chakra laser to blow up the moon. It's their village that makes that weapon, right? It would have been, it would have been easy, right, in terms of character writing, to have Sasuke with his brand new eyes walk all over Killer Bee, only for the exact opposite to happen. It would have been easy with Sasuke and the power of darkness to show up at the Kage Summit and just start bodying people, and to see the Raikage power bomb him, cross chop him in the throat, even with the Amaterasu shield. It's like, bro, like you're just seeing, even Amoy when they go to when Naruto asks for Sasuke's forgiveness and he just bodies Sakura and Sai on sight. Him and Chodi's future wife, when they just pull up and just start giving them the hands.
yeah.
Darui being able
Didn't know
to
we needed it,
didn't know we needed it. Darui outsmarting Ginkaku
bro.
and Kinkaku. Just these black, unapologetically black characters that just great. They were just great. They weren't swept aside. They weren't incompetent. They weren't undercooked. There was just the right amount of characterization of like, wow. So they can do black characters, right? That was my take. Like, wow,
Man,
it can be done in a way
man.
that leaves an
Oh
impact.
man,
So that was my pick. It would be the
that.
Raikage from Naruto. Go
Oh
ahead,
man,
Dory.
that brought Naruto. I have to say it. That brought Naruto to another level to me, man. And it's not that I needed that to happen, but
Right.
when it did happen, it was like, yo, it's not nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not nothing, you know? It's not nothing. It's saying something. I was like, yo, man. I said, okay. When I saw Killer B, they was telling me, I had my friend come over. His name David. He came. He said, Joey, man, you know, he's Spanish. He said, Joey, you gotta see this. I was like, okay, what are you talking about? He was showing me the manga. And I was like, I said, because he was talking about this guy for weeks. And I wasn't reading the manga. He was talking about this guy for weeks. He was even drawing. He said, this character is amazing. I said, what are you talking about? He could rap. So he could rap. Okay. Then I finally saw it. I was like, whoa. Then they showed me a whole village. Oh man, wonders.
Mm-hmm.
For me, my character that I would go since you already took that one. There's no need to expand. I want to have more variety. I liked Ogun from Fire Force.
I haven't seen Fire Force, so but go ahead.
Yeah, I happen to really like Fire Force. Ogun from Fire Force. And one of the villains, I don't know his name, but one of the villains from Fire Force, they were done very well. His fight scenes, his character, they were like, you know, I'm here. I don't, you know, this is not my land, but you know, I'm here. I like the people, you know. It was just it was a cool, it was almost like an appreciation for that character, you know. And then, you know, I would like to even say hats off to Cowboy Bebop, because that's the most black characters I've ever seen in an anime.
Yes.
Period.
And they were all dope.
And and they were black.
Mm-hmm.
They were black. You had biracial black people, you had black people. And they were done well. You could tell he took as inspiration from the jazz era.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the episode where they're chasing the dog for the bounty.
Mm-hmm.
And the dog wants to become a crew member. I thought that episode was phenomenal, and it was an artist being inspired by the art around him or what he's influenced by. Even Samurai Champloo, even though there's not an actual black character, you can tell the inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Mixtape.
Mm-hmm.
Samurai Mixtape.
Yeah.
Mugen,
Yeah.
you know, you could tell his inspiration from, you know. But yeah, Ogun, let me see. I got a little picture of him right here. Here you go.
Okay. I mean, I've been meaning to watch Fire. I've heard good things about Fire Force. I just haven't watched it.
You know, Fire Force does have some of that awkward, raunchy, Japanese humor.
I've heard the fan service can get a little fairy tale-ish.
Yeah, it's just like at this point I can't even save you, dog. Like, and I'm not that kind of guy, but like I can't save you.
I mean, look at One Piece.
I can't. When does one? Oh well,
Nami.
Sanji is more.
Nami.
Oh, with the bras?
No, with the body, with the everything. Have you ever looked at a pre-time skip, post-time skip? Nami? They're two completely different people.
With you, dog, it just like. But to be honest with you, with the One Piece women, they don't. For me, they just make me laugh. I don't look at them like, oh, Nami.
They make
like,
you laugh.
Yeah, they
make
just make
us
me laugh. Like,
we're from a different era.
Because I feel that his intention of making something humorous gets across. He draws funny. He doesn't draw the characters as cool as you think. He's inspired by, and it's evident through Joy Boy. He draws the characters inspired by 1930s animation.
Yeah, but Jory, let's call it what it is.
Oh, I mean,
let's call it what it
service,
is.
I
Fan
guess.
service.
I'm not glued to One Piece like this. So
There's a couple of YouTube compilations of them going crazy over Robin and Nami. That's all I'll say. But
dude, these
I
guys
don't get you off topic.
These guys get excited off of a toe. You can't rationalize somebody. You know, anything a toe. You feel me?
Okay.
An anime voice.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like it.
Yeah, Senpai done in a cute voice. They're just like, oh my gosh, the way she said it.
People going crazy over characters from Beastars. Like, you can't save these people, man. You can't save these people. Oh my! Did you see the bunny girl?
No comment.
Like, you can't save these people, man. Did you see the sheep woman? You can't save these people, man.
Sheesh.
Like you feel me? You can't.
There was,
You can't
yeah,
reason with
there
these
was a little
people.
bit too much of a deep dive character study into Zootopia than I was comfortable with. But
Oh my
we'll get
gosh,
back on
dude.
topic.
Oh
Tim,
fam, yeah.
give us your choice.
Go ahead, Tim.
Okay, my character is a voice actor, and it's Idris Elba when he played Knuckles for Sonic 2.
Hmm.
And the reason why is this has been the best, I would say, animated or just, brought to life action version of Knuckles since Sonic X when it was the old voice of Yugi who played him.
Hmm.
And and
I'm glad you noticed that. That's
and
cool.
the reason why I said that it was just his demeanor. Like I come from a very proud tribe, and yes, like Sonic was his enemy because the first time he met him, he was like, "Tell me where it is, apprentice of Longclaw." And he was like the Terminator when they was like fighting him back and forth. Like Sonic was scared to be around this dude
Hmm.
because Sonic was just getting punched through walls. Like when Sonic did the spin dash and he caught him with one hand, and he was like, "Does it look like I need your power?" And just dunked him straight into the ground. It was beautiful. Even of his interactions with Eggman, it was like because they always branded Knuckles as this nonchalant dummy. I was like, no, Knuckles is very smart. He even peeped like, yeah, at some points it's like, bro, you acting a little funny. But
Hmm.
yes, for story plot armor, yes, he was tricked by Eggman because that's the plot of the story. He was tricked by Eggman, but like he always said, like, yeah, you're a little weird one. But it was great.
Chaos was in that movie, right?
No, no,
Was it?
No?
no,
No.
Okay,
Mm-mm.
okay,
no. But it was it
okay.
was it was a great voice acting, and I was like, well, like they really brought a deeper sense to this character because to be honest, when you excuse me, to look at the similarities, Knuckles when you look at the Sonic, especially I would say the comics, I would say Knuckles was always the Piccolo of the Sonic series to an extent. That first major rival
Okay.
that is still
Because
like
Shadow
that
will be
is
Vegeta. That makes
yeah.
sense.
And Shadow
Mm.
is more the Vegeta who just kind of took over in terms of popularity.
Hmm.
And you see that, and you really do see that, even with this latest Sonic animated series on Netflix. Like he has many of his battles are with Knuckles and Shadow, and that's what I really love. Like to see like that rivalry still exists. Like he just yeah, they're all friends, but they know like Sonic, you acting a little dumb, you about to get these hands.
Mm.
Okay,
That's a
that's good.
that's a
I have
solid
one
pick.
more.
Mm.
Man, that's actually very good,
No,
man.
Idris Elba delivered on that, bro. That voice acting was very superior, and I'm glad he's getting the spinoff. I'm glad.
Mm. Two guys. I got I don't know if the actor for Whole Horse counts in the English dub of Stardust Crusaders.
Bro, I don't
I'm
even know
gonna
what you're talking about.
say no,
Okay,
only because Whole Horse is
then
a white cowboy.
yeah, yeah, White
Knuckles is
Cowboy.
Knuckles is in a fictional echidna. He's not a
Yeah.
Whole Horse is a white man.
Um, Black Beetle
Black.
from
Young Justice?
Young Justice.
Okay.
Who was the actor?
The dude who played Underworld as the werewolf, the big black werewolf.
Oh, Rays.
Yeah,
Mm.
he
Oh,
was the
okay.
voice actor for Black Beetle.
Okay. That's
And
very good.
man, when I say I didn't think I would love someone as much as Bane as a villain at that time, he did it for me, man. His script, his dialogue, how he talked to the Titans.
He's like, oh,
He called them meat bags.
yeah, he's like, oh, the meat.
It was, yo, it was so sick. It was almost disturbing. I was like, yo, this alien don't care about you, dog. The way he was talking to them kids, man. The meat bags. I'm like, yo, like when aliens, you have to understand they did it in a way to like him trying to understand the human world,
Hmm.
and he just realized, hey, they're just flesh. And for an entity from outside of space just to reduce you to that, it's an insult. You know he means it with every fiber. They're just flesh. This is just another orange. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna step on that has fallen off of the tree and I didn't see it in my daily commutes. you know? And him to be like when he was talking about I think there was a scene where Wonder Girl was just talking crazy. He was like, I can, and then what's her name again? Miss Martian tried to save her, and he shifted the density of the doors. She's like, what did you do to her? I shifted the density of the doors. I can do that to you too. I can put you in halfway, the hard way. I was like, no, and slams her. And the thing is, what made that scene so powerful is that they show the bodies of Superboy laid out flat, just jumping because of the doors, and him just slamming Wonder Girl repeatedly over and over and over again, and you just see all the Titans bodies just doom, 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 and they just show you all the Titans that's just laid out flat, slamming over and over.
Yeah, because I remember.
He was the he. Yeah, go
Because I
ahead.
remember when they were fighting him, they had to release Mongol to like, because he was running through them, bro, and they had to release Mongol to fight him.
Mongol. You know who Mongol is? DC's Frieza, literally. And
Space,
I say that because he sells planets.
space.
He's
He's a
just the
space
only
pirate.
thing. Yeah, he's a space pirate, but he's literally DC Frieza. I say that because they sell planets. Frieza does the same thing, and when they expanded upon that on Rowley movie, um, but he was such a threat. I felt terrified for them, terrified. Besides Red Tornado, the Red Tornado Titan android, he was the most menacing thing because Blue Beetle had no answer for him, and he was the same guy. They had to get a Martian with the Blue Beetle tech on him to fight, and he couldn't do anything either. Yeah, so I thought that actor, I wanted to see him. I want to see him in more stuff, man, because I felt he did a phenomenal job. Even the gentleman that played Darkseid in the Superman Batman versus Batman One Supergirl movie.
Oh, he was black?
That Darkseid, yeah, he was a black. He was black. The Darkseid from the Justice League is the dude from Starship Troopers. You want to live forever? That's him.
Really?
But the one from the dude from Starship Troopers. I know all the actors, bro. Trust me. That young Justice League Unlimited, Justice League. When I say as getting older, that became my favorite series. It's because I didn't realize how great the acting was in the voice acting for a style like that. They got their point across. I was like, man, look what they could have done with more rendering, you know.
Yeah, because there was a clip that came over Twitter the other day was when Omazo was facing Lex Luthor when Lex Luthor taught him about purpose. Because you remember Omazo ascended to godhood. Well, I would
Oh man,
say
that
actually
conversation,
I would say cosmic. Let's say it.
cosmic,
Cosmic.
I mean,
yeah,
he's
not got
always
her,
Cosmic,
terrifying.
cosmic,
cosmic,
yeah.
cosmic. And he was basically unstoppable. And he asked like, I have a question. What makes you keep going? He was like, to be honest, he was like, even with all my wealth and all my greatness, it's only going to take probably 2 generations before I'm forgotten. So I live on to continue to add more to my legacy, to see certain things that other people will never see. And he's like, that's my purpose. He's like, but then what is my purpose? He was like, that's something that you have to find out. That's something we all have to do. So you have to go out there and find out. So it was just such deep dialogue, bro. Such deep dialogue.
Was Lex
Man,
Luthor's voice actor black?
no, it's the if you've seen John Wick 4, it's the
Oh,
guy, the
really?
referee at the end. Yeah, that's Lex Luthor. You have any objections? You? No, I don't. That's him. The
Got
one
it.
with the hat.
Got
That's
it.
Lex Luthor's voice actor. Yeah.
Yeah. Just see a lot of quotables. A lot of quotables.
Devil Ray is played by Michael Beach, who played Devil Ray's Black Manta's father in the Aquaman movie. That's the voice of Devil Ray in Justice League Unlimited. Michael Beach. He did an amazing job. Those episodes that he was in when he was fighting Wonder Woman, and when they went to go get a soul gem for Lex Luthor, when Lex Luthor officially made the Legion of Doom, accompanied with Gorilla Grodd. Oh man, it's such great performances. Back to that episode 10 before we go back on topic. There was a scene where the Atom shot him with a gun that was supposed to like paralyze him, and he said, neural inhibitor tech. That would have worked a week ago when I was still nanotech.
Yeah, Amazo was terrifying. Like I said, terrifying.
Yeah, yeah.
Back to Black Beetle. Black to Black Beetle, man. He did something for me that I was like, man, I gotta get my writing for characters to be like this. Because I know how he talks now. Whenever you know how a villain talks, you've done a great job. Whenever you find out how a hero talks, you've done an amazing job. Nobody talks like Kevin Conroy's Batman, or responds to his enemies as witty as someone who has a stoic nature like Batman. And then when he's smooth as Batman, it's over. It makes sense for Lois to leave and be wooed and go on a date. It makes sense. It just makes so much sense. The first interaction in television history, we saw that with Superman and Batman. With the world's finest, we saw that.
Yeah, we're living a blessed era, bro. That's the long and short of it.
We saw that.
A blessed era.
We saw it. I always knew you were crazy. Yeah, I am. And he looked, so you peaked. Bruce Wayne, you peaked. I would have, that level of writing, man, but back to Black Beetle, man, that was Young Justice when it was at its prime. And then it transformed into
Remember,
suffering.
because remember after that season ended, that's when they went to that limbo. Remember, it was technically quote unquote
Yeah,
canceled, and it
canceled.
wasn't really
Made no
returning.
sense to me. Made no
So I
sense
was
to
like,
me.
so you mean to tell me you about to end the series with Vandal Savage and Darkseid shaking hands? Okay, okay. We fought for that revival. That was
We fought for that, man. We fought for that, boy. Cyborg, to give like honorable nominees, Cyborg from Teen Titans.
The
for that.
voice, yes.
Him,
The voice.
yes.
The character,
From
I
Teen
don't know.
Titan,
I don't know.
from Teen Titans, the original Teen Titans.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cyborg had me rolling, dude.
He,
He was, and he had character development that I appreciated.
yeah.
When you watch the entire, yeah,
But it's like, how can I describe it? It's like, the Android Cell saga, right? Krillin contributes. Tien's Kokoho Tri-Beam attack against Cell will go down in history. But he's no Gohan. He's no Super Vegeta. He's no Cell Jr. episode.
I don't see it like that. I don't see it like that, man. Because there was times
Slade,
Cyborg contributed.
Robin, just the voice alone of Raven. It's
yeah.
He doesn't take away from it. He's a crucial part to that amazing puzzle, but he's no Gohan. The first thing you think of when you think of Teen Titans is Slade and Robin.
Yeah.
Beast Boy's charismatic, Starfire is oblivious, and this is funny. Slade, Robin.
And now when they got to the Brother Blood,
But yeah,
that Brother Blood,
but that's it. That was it.
and then they canceled. That was good. And even with when all the Teen Titans started to vanish, when they started to get into the brain, I will destroy the Teen Titans. They started to ramp up, but I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. I thought it was cool. I already knew he was not going to take the spotlight, but
Yeah, I'm not downplaying him. I'm just saying, like, in terms of when you're looking at something that's amazing, an amazing show, it's like,
Okay, got you.
yeah,
All
sorry,
right, all right.
you're
Okay, all right.
not the key piece. Joey Wheeler
All
has
right,
some
all right.
amazing duels, but he's not Kaiba and Yugi. It is what it is.
Yeah, and they tried to make that with Duke Devlin, but good luck, man.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
he had that one arc. That arc was fire,
Yeah,
though. That arc was fire.
Bakura was the coolest loser
Yeah,
in the
man.
history of anime, but he lost. Man took no dubs except against a kid. It is what it is. But just to wrap up the episode, that has been our picks for prominent black animated characters that have really sat with us. I just felt like it was something to think about, and again, just highlight the ways in which the world has progressed. I'm glad that we've gotten to a point where it's just always good to be celebrated and acknowledged in ways that don't make it seem like it's sympathetic or pandering, right? So even to Tim's decision to pick Knuckles, it's like it's true. Knuckles could have been anybody. We wouldn't, like if Knuckles had been an Asian actor, we wouldn't have thought twice. You don't think to yourself Knuckles would be portrayed by a black man. So I think something like that is just it goes to show how things have progressed. Of like, yeah, Knuckles can be played by Idris Elba, and we don't even think twice about it. And he did a great job. We're just like, this was just really good
He
acting.
did a great job.
This is really good acting. So
He did do a great job.
yeah. So I just wanted to have a different highlight segment to kind of close out this week's pod. Once again, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys for even the engagement that we get in some of our clips. Again, the Zoro clip continues to rise. I'm cheering it on. Our Dead or Alive take is starting to do numbers. I'm cheering it on. So it's just a sign of great things to come. And we appreciate the likes, the subscriptions, the comments. And this has been episode 13. Once again, I am Antonius the Gamer. This is Mikkel Smith. This is Super SSS Rank. And this is the Gamer Podcast. Till next episode, take care.